I broke my front camera in the border. So we're getting a whole new iPhone for that now.
So the camera on your phone and your computer are busted.
Yeah, I mean the on my phone the selfie is doesn't work. The other one does. I don't know if I could even. I'm in a hotel, man, so I'm like I don't know if I could. Give me 1 second here. Let me try something.
Okay. Low stress. Jorge Ventura, ladies and gentlemen. Low
Give me
stress.
1 second.
You guys want to see something crazy while we wait? Absolutely nuts. Philip Kelly sent this to me this morning. I can't even believe this is real. It's a doctor. It's a doctor. This is great. Maybe I'll read you the article first and then show you the they actually have video of this. It's on Instagram. Good morning. Sorry. Good morning. David, good morning. Jody, good morning. Marissa, good morning. Chris, hey, everyone, good morning. Sean, this is absolutely nuts what I'm about to show you. This is a doctor in well, I'm not going to show you yet, but I'm going to read it to you. Blytheville, Arkansas, Northeast Arkansas doctor license has been suspended after allegations he performed a sex act with a staff member as other staff watched. That's a doctor having sex with a sex act with staff while other staff watched. I'm going to show you guys the video to this. Philip sent me the video. I watched it this morning. I can't even believe it's real. The board found. Oh, look, there's Jorge. We'll come back to the doctor having sex with the staff. Damn, dude, you look good. You look lean and mean.
Oh man, I got I got a bad stomach virus about 3 weeks ago, so my weight dropped, but I've been hard at the gym, man, like crazy now, and just improved my diet. So everything has been looking better, feeling a whole lot better.
Hey, what do you do when you're working and you want to puke and shit when both openings want to go?
Oh man,
you still push through and work, or like what do you do? That must be crazy with your job because your job's on the go.
Yeah, well, the thing, man, is I had a stomach virus, so that like put me out. I actually had to go to the hospital because I was going on like day 6 without any food. So it got really bad. But on Sunday I went to Mexico and I actually woke up with like the flu, I think. But I had already pitched a story. We already had to do it. So I had to push through. And yeah, it was actually a really good story. So I'm glad. But I'm feeling better, man. Got some electrolytes in the system, ready to go.
Hey, is that the most in all the years? How long have you been doing journalism now?
Technically, this is year 4.
Is that the most sick you've ever been?
Oh yeah, man. I never get sick, bro. Like I mean, I'm always taking care of myself. I eat healthy, and like I never get colds or anything. And then I thought it was a food poisoning, because usually if I have food poisoning, it's like for like a day or two. It ended up dragging on for 2 weeks. I went like 5 days with no food, and then my weight was just dropping, man. And then I mean, and everyone probably knows this, who's like who's like hitting the gym consistently. Like if you don't even go for like 3 days, you feel weak. You feel like you're out of rhythm.
Right.
So I went almost like like a little bit over 2 weeks, man, without the gym. So I was like, I'm really out of rhythm. But I was able to go one time when I was at the border. I went last night. And then probably after our show today, I'll probably hit it again.
Where are you now?
I just got back to San Antonio. We were in Eagle Pass for about 5 days, just because all the Texas authorities are getting ready for kind of like a potential migrant surge ahead of Trump's inauguration.
Hey, so is that true? The things I'm seeing just all the the weird shit. People are hoarding abortion pills. They think they're going to be outlawed. Transgender surgeries are being accelerated, and then of course people rushing up to the border. All the things that people think that Trump's presidency is going to impact. Is that true? Are people trying to rush across the border?
So right now the crossings are still kind of the same, but there is like a buildup. So for instance, at least where we were reporting in Eagle Pass, they are seeing that spike in migrant encounters. So they're seeing that rush of migrants trying to get to Países Negros, Mexico. So that's that's the Mexican border town across Eagle Pass, and then crossing illegally. So on Sunday, I went to Mexico. I mean, I went to that area of Mexico, Países Negras, and what I found was a trend of basically there's thousands of migrants right now in central Mexico, basically like Monterrey and Mexico City. And the reason they're there is because they are trying to enter the U.S. legally by getting an appointment on an application. Not sure if your audience is familiar with it, but it's called CBP1, which was under the Biden administration, where basically migrants could just try to apply for this appointment, and if they get that appointment, they'll be able to enter legally through a port of entry. But there's only about 1,300 to 1,500 per day, and there's like hundreds of thousands of migrants trying to apply for this appointment at one time. So essentially, I was interviewing migrants who were telling me that they've been in Mexico City for like 10 months, and basically every day they just try to get an appointment. They haven't had any luck. So I guess they've been trying for 10 months, and now they feel like that time is running out with Trump coming into office in January. So they're all now traveling from Mexico City and trying to get to border towns to cross it legally. But a lot of them are arriving in Países Negras and then just crossing it legally. So we got to witness some of that, and like kind of go in the water with the migrants in the Rio Grande.
Hey, I saw I think I saw one of your stories yesterday. I'm pretty 99% sure it was your story, and it was one of the more gentle stories I've seen. I feel like usually the media portrays it as like as a frenzy coming across the border and just chaos. And I want to say that this last story I saw of you were interviewing some women and some men, and it had a little bit of a more sympathetic tone. Like, do you feel me on that at all? What I'm saying?
I mean, I mean, for me, I was just trying to do kind of storytelling on kind of what's going on with like both sides, and then personally, the thing with a lot of immigration reporting is I like to do it in a way that you hold the powerful accountable, um, but at the same time, you're also telling stories of just like on the ground, and this is just like real life.
Right.
Um, so
Like
we were
these are
kind of, I
real
was kind
people.
of,
Like these are real people. This
yeah,
just isn't the news.
exactly, yeah. And I always like that style because I always like to shoot my stuff more like if someone was filming a documentary. I'm also telling stories in a way where, for instance, I'm trying to tell a story in a way where, like, if someone doesn't think that what's going on isn't a problem, they kind of could come across the side and say, hey, you know what, I supported this, and then maybe now I don't. Because one thing that kind of has gone underreported in this immigration story under Biden, this chapter is going to come to a close pretty soon, is that, and I think a lot of people forget, is a record number of migrants did die under the Biden administration. So whether you're Republican or Democrat, at the end of the day, there's real human beings dying at the border, and that area of Eagle Pass, um, I've had this connection with this area because this is an area that I started reporting in around 2021. And early on, the amount of migrant deaths that were happening in the Rio Grande were just, I mean, it's just sad. I mean, it's just on a human level, especially the kids. The amount of kids that have died in the waters, babies, is heartbreaking. I remember one of the stories we did, and I remember I mentioned it on your show, is I spoke to the local sheriff there of Maverick County. And he tells me, he's like, Jorge, right now, we're averaging a drowning a day. He says, hey, at the end of the day, us sheriffs, we never trained to be pulling dead bodies the way we are. Also, just viewing the amount of dead bodies and dead kids. And that sheriff took me to the local cemetery there, and there was a bunch of makeshift crosses with the PVC piping, and you see John Doe, Jane Doe, Jane Doe, and then there's just a bunch of rows, baby John Doe, baby Jane Doe, and it was just, once again, it just brings it again to a human level. I think sometimes when you watch media on both sides, you kind of get caught up in the politics, of course, and obviously we just had the election, so I totally get that, but I think a lot of time you do forget. Um, People are dying. Women are being sexually assaulted at the border by these Mexican cartels, kidnapping, extortions. So that's that darker side that you have to tell that story because it does connect to this immigration story, and why this amount of legal immigration hurts both sides. I mean, no one is really winning here. I mean, on the American side, the Americans are losing taxpayer money. trained that along with gang members are not coming into the country and committing crimes, even committing murders. The taxpayers are losing, like in these border towns. They're really get impacted. For instance, like when I'm in Eagle Pass, when they had those times where like the crossings were so high, they had to shut off the port of entry, which I mean that hurts the economy on both the Mexican border towns and the American border towns. So the list goes on, but the deaths sometimes go underreported in the story, and obviously liberal media kind of wants to avoid that conversation.
After watching, I watched an interview of Thomas Homan from 2019, and then I watched an interview of him more recently. He's the new border czar. Basically, my takeaway, really big picture, the 100,000-foot view is bad shit's always going to happen at the border. But if you don't have rule at the border and you think out of kindness, you're going to just open the border and let people cross out of kindness, what you get is more bad shit everywhere. You get more deaths, more lost children, more drugs coming across. And so it reminds me of kind of the defund the police movement. You think you're going to do something nice, and then really it just backfires and it just exacerbated the problem. Actually, more kids got separated from their parents when the border was open. More drugs came across. There was more sex trafficking. There were more drownings. It actually didn't help anything.
And
Would you say that's accurate,
the
big picture?
yeah, and the connection too with the defund the police to like the open border is, um, it only I mean it impacts on the American side when we spoke about the American communities. It impacts the working class communities the most, right? So like defund the police, when you're taking the police out, it's the single mother in Los Angeles who's like who could get robbed that doesn't have the police there to respond to that. It's not going to be the person in the gated gates in Beverly Hills or
Right,
Malibu or
right.
Calabasas. Same thing with the border issue is, these migrants now are headed to cities like Denver, New York City, Chicago, but they're going to working class communities. They're not going obviously to the rich areas, and those wealthy Americans are not seeing the issue the way the working class folks are. So that's why that's also the connection that I also see as well, that people forget. And in Texas, and this is I wanted to bring up this issue is all those communities are either working class or actually below poverty line, and they're all overwhelmingly Latino communities. So, for instance, Eagle Pass, where we were, is 95% Latino. That's also an area. I mean, all these border towns, they also vote overwhelmingly Democrat. And a big story that came out of this election is that all these counties basically flipped to Trump. Starr County on the border, that's 97% Latino. That went to Trump. I was just in Maverick County. Back in 2020, Maverick County voted Joe Biden by nearly 10 percentage points. This time, it did a 19-point swing all the way to Trump. So those working class communities on the border, even like I said, even below on the poverty line, they kept seeing this crisis for 4 years. And then when they turn on the news, you have these TV anchors telling them and Democrat strategists saying, "Oh, well, that's not real. It's not happening. It's all under control." And those voters obviously went to the ballot box and wanted to send a message. Um, so this immigration story, I think, we're going to talk about it 20 years down the line because it just plays such a role in this, not only election, but all these Latino communities that were overwhelmingly Democrat, that the Democrats also didn't even really have to invest in because they were kind of just in the bag. I mean, it's insane. I mean, for like even Maverick County. I mean, it's such a rare political story to have a county flip 19 points to the other party. I mean, that's like completely unheard of.
So the Democrats' theory was, this is going to backfire on the Republican. They're villainizing border crossers. They're villainizing all of these immigrants, legal or illegal, that come across the border. And what's going to happen is the cohort of Latinos that are already in the country are going to overwhelmingly vote Democrat, and we're going to win. But it didn't play out that way. The group that came before them was like, hey, we know this is too many. You're fucking up any possibility of the dream by letting too many of us in. Is that how it played out? Is that the
I wouldn't even say that it backfired. I just really think they completely ignored it and tried to tell their voters it wasn't happening.
Mm.
Because
So
now
they
I'm
lost
listening
their trust.
to
You think it was a trust thing? You think it's like, hey, even though my family came across the border, you're denying that it's happening, and I don't trust you, and I'm voting against you, like that?
it's that, and like I said, people, living on the board, they got to see it in different, in different aspects. Like I said, Eagle Pass was interesting because they also had they also had it. I remember December 2023. That December 2023, it was the record of the most of the most illegal crossings ever in the southern border. But Eagle Pass, particularly, was averaging 2,000 migrants a day, and I was on the ground for those 30 days. And I don't know if you remember, man, just the scenes of thousands of people under that port of entry, and you can
Yep.
see all the migrants with like those space blankets. I mean, the optics were horrible. Um, and those images stuck with voters, and like I said, they saw the issue, but then you had a political party who technically is in power, right? The Biden administration, and they they ignored it, obviously, but they also were almost telling their voters that it wasn't happening. And now I'm watching a bunch of left leaning podcasts because I trying to analyze the election, and now they're admitting that is true, but also. You could even talk about, I'm not an economy reporter, but it was almost the same thing with the economy, right? Where voters told you, hey, I'm impacted by inflation. I know you're telling me the economy is good, but we are not seeing that. Our wages haven't grown.
You're
And when you
telling us
keep
crime
telling
is
voters
down.
it's not happening,
Right.
it's just you're obviously going to pay for it. The other issue, the other key thing I think to the story that is now I think it's going to be talked about more was Texas Governor Greg Abbott's decision to bus migrants to Democrat cities. I remember when that was happening, a lot of folks on the right, like, we're not happy about that. They're like, why are we bringing more migrants into the interior? What Greg Abbott did is he not only forced the cities to address the issue. Obviously, we know that now, right? But he then forced the local media in those cities to then have to put it on the news, and then now those voters in those big cities had to deal with those issues. I believe New York City, taxpayer wise, was spending. I think they might still be spending, but I remember last year, the Mayor Adams came out and said we are spending $8 million a day in just caring for migrants. So that's why also I think now that we got the data from the election where you saw like a bunch of big cities, like voters in big cities, like in liberal cities, even shift to the right, it's because of this issue. I remember, in Chicago, for instance, like there was those images where like there's migrants basically out in the tents and they're freezing. I mean, all those optics just didn't help. And once again, the voters are seeing it. Everyone is clearly seeing it, and you had a party that just wouldn't address it. And once again, I think that played a huge role in why Trump won in November.
Eagle Pass has a population of 28,000, and what you're saying is in 1 month they let in 60,000 people. So everyone in that town went from every time they left the house, their entire town was changed. They
And
didn't
let me just
recognize
explain
their sound.
some of the dynamics for people who are not in these border towns. A lot of these border towns, they depend. There's a lot of Mexicans that live in Paydez Negras, or even Americans that like they live in these Mexican border towns that cross every day to work. In American border towns, it's a completely normal thing. So in Eagle Pass, for instance, there's a lot of restaurants and other industry there that they have. A lot of their workforce is in Mexico that crosses over every day. The issue when you have thousands of migrants under the port of entry and they have to close the port of entry, now that workforce can't get over. Also, customers. There's a lot of Mexicans that travel every day, to American border towns. It's happened from TJ to San Diego, obviously, Paydez Negras, to Eagle Pass, where they come and shop every day. So those business owners, they depend on that business to come through. So they were impacted. Also, local resources, right? So when you have thousands of migrants under the port of entry, you could only imagine the amount of medical calls that are coming in, kids that need assistance, mothers, all types of illnesses. I remember when I was speaking with the sheriff, he was like, Jorge, we only have 5 ambulances for the entire county. So now we're spending our local resources, and that local resources is getting tied up and dealing with an issue that should be handled by the federal government. I believe I remember one of the times I was down there. I asked like the local fire department, like how much money have you guys already spent, rescuing migrants and dealing with these rescue calls? They're like, we're basically spending close to like half a million, a year. And he's like, and that money's a loss. We're not, we're not getting reimbursed for this. So those local people once again continue to see the issue. These are folks that voted Democrat, and also because the Democrats thought they had those voters in the bag, they didn't invest in those communities. Now the Republican Party saw another thing, and I think the 2022 midterm, there was Monica De La Cruz that was like down here, a congresswoman who's a Republican. Meyer Flores had a lot of momentum. Trump campaign on the border. Ron DeSantis. I remember when Ron DeSantis was running, he came down to the border. Ron DeSantis not only came down to the border campaign, but he also deployed Florida state troopers to help Texas state troopers. So even as a voter, you have a party that's telling you that's not a problem, but when you walk outside, and you see, well, wait, why does the Republican governor of Florida, why is he deploying more resources, or why are they why are they doing more? That's the way they view it. All that stuff played a major role in this immigration story.
Jody Lynn, can you please get Jorge's Venmo so we can donate money? What do you have a Venmo, Jorge?
No. I'm all good, man. Yeah. No worries for donations, guys. No worries about that.
Why? Do you have any theory on why they left the border open? Why Kamala never went down there? Why Joe Biden didn't just sign an executive order to shut the border down? Do you have any like big picture? I know the general theory is let these people in and they'll vote blue. Do you have any thoughts on why they would allow that to happen?
I think what it was is you have a Democrat Party that doesn't want to alienate their progressive base. You also have their voters are very they don't, like I said, they didn't want to upset that progressive voter base, and then so I feel like I obviously I don't know this, but
Just what's the theory? Because it doesn't make any sense. It's the same thing with like accepting minor attracted persons. You know what I mean? Or letting boys into girls' restrooms, like leaving the border open. Why did they do this? Do the politicians actually intellectually think that these are good ideas?
I mean, see, you would have to ask them that. I mean, I think I brought this up. My favorite, not my favorite, but there's that famous Bernie Sanders clip where a progressive journalist asked Bernie Sanders, he's like, why not open up America's borders to like the world's poorest, and they could come here and obviously get the American dream. And then Bernie Sanders says that's a Koch brothers conspiracy. He's like, because if you allow all that workforce in, that's going to drive down American wages, and that's what big corporations want. So at that was Bernie Sanders' answer, and that was around 2015. I mean, when the Obama administration was, I would say, moderate on the border. I mean, moderate, probably strong on the border. I remember Univision, the Spanish news channel. They nicknamed Obama the deporter in chief because of the amount of deportations. Then obviously Trump comes in 2016, and I don't know for the Dems if they felt because Trump came in with that such heavy rhetoric on immigration that I don't think we've ever really heard before, right? Like the build the wall and all that stuff, that they feel like they had to swing the whole other way for their voters. So they became, like I said, they didn't want to alienate that progressive voter base. So they came in, and then obviously they with executive orders basically took away a lot of Trump's hardline immigration policies. The number one probably being that the Remain in Mexico was probably a huge one, and basically then this kind of started this whole kind of catch and release policy that was different. And I remember in March 2021 was my first time at the southern border in McAllen, Texas. And I remember I had come across a group of 300 migrants. And I remember when I came across the group, obviously I'm shocked, big group. And I remember when I ran into the migrants, they would tell me, "Where is Border Patrol? Where is Border Patrol?" And I remember just having this like confused look of like, wait, like why would you be looking for Border Patrol? I was kind of used to like, if you would cross into Trump, you would probably not want to see a Border Patrol agent. So I didn't get it. And obviously, after reporting for 2 weeks, I was like, wait a minute. The reason they want to go to Border Patrol is because they know they'll be processed, either later released. And then that obviously we saw that trend carry out. Everyone knows that now. Um, I just think it started off with not wanting to alienate a voter base. Then I mean, I have no idea why they would not solve it. I think even moderate Democrats wanted it solved. But once again, it just exploded. Even the images kept just coming out, and I mean, now we're here.
Um, this is from your Instagram, and it shows. I think these are Texas. Are these Texas Rangers?
Texas National Guard.
Texas National Guard, and there's a guy on the roof of this truck pointing a pepper gun.
Yep.
I think at these guys. Those are also images I'm not used to seeing. Is the Border Patrol and people working the border feeling more empowered now?
So I haven't got to speak with agents, but there have already been reports that their morale is higher. And let me explain those images for you, man. So that what you're seeing there, that's Texas trying to put up they're trying to mortify and trying to do their best to deter and block migrants from entering illegally. And what you're seeing there is you have Texas National Guard also using that pepper ball gun to obviously deter the migrants, so they're not gonna like shoot at the migrants. They'll shoot pretty close to them in the waters, but that's just to deter and block migrants. So Texas is trying to take that initiative of hey, we want to stop any type of surge. And I mean, that operation there's been going on for 3 years now. It's called Operation Lone Star. And right there, you see them really doubling down. And what's also interesting there is, and Texas authorities will tell you, is the migrants know when Texas authorities are there that they're going to be blocked and deterred from entering. So they want to look for Border Patrol agents because technically under federal law, once a migrant reaches American soil, which technically they're on American soil, they have to be apprehended by Border Patrol agents. The difference is Texas that doesn't apply for Texas authorities, so they're going to continue to block and try to do their best they can. But just want to explain for the audience what you're seeing there is Operation Lone Star, and that's by Texas Governor Greg Abbott.
Yeah, I was hoping what I was seeing is that they're feeling more empowered. They're feeling like that they have the support of the government and that they can show more force to deter people from coming in. I just hadn't remembered ever seeing video of that, of guys actually pointing weapons or doing anything to deter them. You're right. The images we've seen the last 2 years are mostly showing the Border Patrol escorting people across. It seems new to me to see them actually deterring people from breaking into the country illegally.
Yeah, and once again, that's the state of Texas. That is not that's not the federal government. That's not Border Patrol. That's the state of Texas. And Texas has deployed not only Texas National Guard to do that, but they also have Texas State Troopers. So you have the troopers also patrolling. Their job is to block and deter. They are not they're not apprehending migrants or any of that. They are doing, obviously they'll apprehend them if they cross in, but they are going to do their best that they can to block. That's why they're also mortifying areas. They're trying to build as much of that razor wire.
Yeah, is this razor wire here down by the water that I'm looking at too? They don't even want you getting ashore. That's razor wire on the ground, right?
Short, but I mean, they got that thing so heavily mortified. They got that fencing, and like I said, they have that area very secure there. It's called Shelby Park. So they're, like I said, they're trying to lock it down. And that area of Shelby Park, the reason why they wanted to mortify that area, that's the area where you have those viral images of the thousands of migrants under this port. I mean, it looks like almost like a mini city. So after that happened in December in 2023, when we went into the new year, that's when Governor Greg Abbott said, okay, we're going to shut down that park because we want to avoid that massive staging area. We do not want that again. The big thing here, man, is and this is what I heard from a Texas authority, is there's a dual mission when it comes to immigration, where you have Border Patrol agents that are not necessarily blocking or deterring migrants, where migrants know to turn themselves into that Border Patrol agent to be released into the U.S. Texas is playing the role of blocking, deterring, like we do, like they're in a way, because I think for a lot of Americans, they think Border Patrol agents on the ground right now, and they're blocking migrants and they're stopping it. They're technically not. It's Texas authorities that are doing that. And like I said, Border Patrol agents are doing more of the. I mean, they are just doing the catch and release. So that was a big thing when I was having a conversation with a Texas authority saying, "Look, right now we have dueling missions,
Right.
when federal and the state should be basically working together to protect the border." So that's kind of an interesting takeaway from that conversation.
Why are these women covering their face? Is it smell horrible down there? Like, why are they covering their faces?
I mean, I would just imagine they probably didn't want to be on camera. Not
Okay.
not I'm yeah.
Okay. So it has nothing to do with the stench or
No, no.
no. Okay. What do you think about the new guy, Homan? I guess he's the old guy coming back.
Holman is gonna. I mean, he's obviously gonna come in, and I think they're gonna just bring down the hammer. And he's obviously gonna follow Trump's vision on border security, or at least the goals in the initiative. He like I said, he's gonna come down with the absolute hammer. I think it's pretty clear the guy like is literally just all business when it comes to the border. I believe he was the ICE director, or he worked at some type of high-ranking position as
I
well
think
when
you're
with,
right. I
with
think you're right.
Obama. Yeah, yeah. So I remember, under Obama, even Univision nicknamed Obama the deporter in chief. So I think he's going to come in hardline policy, according to Holman. When it comes to this mass deportation operation, they want to target, criminals, anyone who could be a high risk first. That's going to be their priority. They're going to work it down. So I think they're going to come in, like I said, all guns blazing on the border. He's very aggressive. He's a guy who's I've been watching him on TV2 for years, and they're just going to bring down the hammer. I mean, there's no way to say it. The issue that I see is, will they able to deport millions of people? We'll see. It's going to cost, I mean, a lot of money, but it's just going to be operationally a big task. Tolman says they're going to be able to do it. They're going to bring in, more agents, everything. That I'm going to be interested to see that. The other thing for me as a reporter is, what do you do with the Venezuelans? Because we've had this historic wave of Venezuelans that came in illegally, but Venezuela doesn't have obviously the best relationships with the U.S. Venezuela does not accept deportation flights. I'm not sure if people know that. They don't take deportation flights. So I don't know how you're going to deport Venezuelans. Like, you can't just send them back to Mexico, because then you would need Mexico to then agree to take that Venezuelan in. I don't know if Trump's going to pressure Mexico with some type of tariff or deal. We will have to wait and see. Obviously, I think that they're not going to want to talk about those operations right now. In November, they're going to wait to January, obviously, to the inauguration, and then when Trump's in. I don't know how you deport the Venezuelans right now, because if the country doesn't want to take them in, if they don't accept deportation flights, that I think is going to be a massive challenge from my perspective.
In 2015, U.S. Immigration Custom Enforcement Executive Associate Director, ICE Enforcement and Removal Operations Thomas Homan received from Obama the 2015 Presidential Rank Award for Distinguished Service. So I guess that's how Obama loved him.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he was, he worked under the Obama. He was technically, like I said, Obama's the reporter in chief. So now I think they're gonna the mission is a lot different now, obviously. But obviously, if now they're trying to, there's that thing. I don't know if you've seen that kind of like viral clip that's going on with like AOC and him, where
yes,
he
he
has a
tore her up.
yeah, where he has 0 tolerance for family separation. So that's now making the rounds on kind of the liberal corporate press. But I think, like I said, he's going to come in. He's going to bring the hammer down. But like I said, for me, I just don't know how you're going to remove Venezuelans. I don't even know if you could even get Venezuela to even agree on something like that. It probably doesn't help Venezuela-U.S. relations by also selecting Marco Rubio as Secretary of State. Marco Rubio obviously has a very hawkish view on Venezuela, so I have no idea how they do that. Do you
And
get
the people
Mexico
from
to?
the Congo and the Chinese and all the other places that they're coming from, right?
Yeah, exactly. We still have I mean, we have migrants from all over the world, but but obviously the nationality that came in the millions was Venezuelans. And then even when I was in right now, just recently in Paytas against Mexico, the majority of migrants that I met were Venezuelan, and there's still hundreds of thousands in Mexico, and who are basically trying to get on the CBP1 app, because they know that Trump is going to also end that application when he probably comes in January. So you have a huge Venezuelan problem. I just don't know. Like I said, I don't know how you remove how they're going to remove them. I'm going to be curious to see that.
But you think Homan's up for the job? You think that Trump picked the right guy?
I mean, like as a reporter, I can't give an opinion, but obviously Trump picked someone who's gonna follow the initiative that Trump wants, and it's gonna be that hardline policy. And Holman, I think, from his experience, has showed that on this it's serious business. And I think Holman, you also got to see, because I follow the guy closely too when he wasn't obviously in official capacity under Biden. But he has been extremely passionate about this issue. And he continued to speak out against the Biden administration. I reached out to some border patrol agents that I've spoken to in the past, all big fans of Holman. So they're going to carry out that initiative. So whatever Trump wants, that hardline policy, they're going to play absolutely no games.
I want to talk about the children. All I keep hearing over and over is there's an unprecedented amount of unaccompanied minors coming over the border. And then they kind of make this connection to sex trafficking. Now, in my day-to-day life, right, I can go to Home Depot and I can see all sorts of people who appear to be migrants looking for work, right? But in my day-to-day life, I never see anything that looks like children, right? Ever, ever, ever. All I get is the news. And then the other piece that I thought was interesting was General John Kelly came out against Trump and said that Trump he said he heard Trump say, hey, I wish that my generals were more like Hitler's generals. So I started Googling around about John Kelly, and I found out that General John Kelly sits on the board of the largest migrant center in the world, two of them, that, guess what they hold? Unaccompanied minors. And so he obviously doesn't want Trump taking power because that's going to influence his ability. And they had a $360 million contract with the U.S. government to hold unaccompanied minors. What is really going on there? Is there anything I'm going to say something so crass here, but is it literally like there's some sort of network where I can buy 10 kids and like bring them to my Diddy mansion and do crazy shit with them? Like, and I don't know if you saw the story that also broke, the disgusting story that broke yesterday. I'm trying to remember who the guy was, but there was a guy in the US who was recently caught for watching on, in the Philippines. There was a website where you could go and pay money to watch people have sex with minors. And it's actually like a business. Is there that kind of dark, crazy shit going on? Because, the mainstream media, they don't get into the nitty gritty. You just have to buy what they're saying and accept it.
On the border, there is that dark underworld with children. And I want to just share a quick story. So the 2 years ago, I was in McAllen. I actually have two, but 2 years ago I was in McAllen, and we were there because McAllen, which is in the Rio Grande Valley, Texas, never sees Chinese migrants. So they had this huge explosion in Chinese migrants. So we went for that story, and while we were down there, we encountered this woman who was crying, and a migrant woman, and she ran over to us, and she had this 4-year-old boy, and she basically told us, this is not my son. I found him abandoned, and I didn't know what to do, so I brought him with me, and so I was with Texas authorities at the time. So when they approached the little boy, he was wearing like this makeshift necklace, and it had an address. I believe it was like to Georgia, and basically the Texas authorities was like, that's their, that's like their sponsor, whatever. Um, and I was just completely flabbergasted, because it was like such a sad scene to see like this kid abandoned. He had, like I said, he had like a makeshift address. His parents weren't with them. The migrant woman had no idea. She's like, I don't know if a smuggler had abandoned him. And there's millions of stories like that. I was also in Yuma, Arizona.
What happened to him? What happened to the boy?
Well, basically, what we did is we personally got that. The thing is, that boy then goes to what they call the Department of Health and Human Services. So then the Department of Health and Human Services then is gonna try to contact that boy's sponsor. So what we did is we took a picture of the address because it also had a phone number, and we called the number a few times, and the guy, I think, was trying to act. Like I said, you don't even know. He was trying to say he was the boy's uncle, and but then like why would they send him by himself? So it was just extremely odd. And then I had another situation when we were in Yuma, Arizona, and this little boy was discovered by a group of migrants. When they said is he was naked when they found him, and that he was like completely passed out, and they had to give him clothes. They obviously brought him when they crossed the border, but the boy was completely passed out when we were with him. Like he was not conscious, and then he didn't have a phone number, but he had a sponsor address written on his arm, and then come to find out, I think it was like a year later, I believe it was the New York Times. They put out a report that like the government couldn't find like 300 kids, or like they couldn't get in contact with those sponsors. Then there was other stories where one sponsor, I think they found what they like that like one sponsor would have like 5 unaccompanied minors to that address. So there was just a bunch of those stories, and that's also like I said, a dark underworld of kids who are either sent by their parents by themselves, and also where you have family members here in the U.S. that like somehow get these kids to come by themselves. It's just it's a dark underworld that, I mean, you would have to go down a huge rabbit hole. But I think like right now, because we just did a report here in Eagle Pass because they're also seeing a surge of unaccompanied minors. I think it was like on Friday, a group of 114 migrants came, and then that they had 13 unaccompanied children with them. And then those kids will get transferred to Health and Human Services, and they'll be connected to a sponsor. Who knows if they're a
What
family
is the
member or not.
sponsor? Is that just some random person in the United States who's like, yeah, I'll take a kid?
I think what it is those kids have a contact with, like, written on them. Like basically, they're either carrying notes. It's either written on them. So then basically, the Department of Health and Human Services tries to get in contact with that sponsor. The issue is, um, because there's so many kids, they don't have enough resources to actually do proper vetting to the adults that these kids are being released to. So right now, the Department of Health and Human Services has, I believe, over 6,000 unaccompanied minors in custody. They try to get the average stay to about 34 days. I'm not sure if that always happens, but there's been a lot of reporting. This is not coming from me, that's new, but there's been already a lot of reporting that they just don't even have the resources to then also do the proper vetting of who these adults are. And I believe also the New York Times, which did a great piece, is they found out also a bunch of these kids were being used in what they call labor trafficking, so forced into factories and all different areas of work. That's just very bizarre, of like them taking advantage of these migrant children. From my own reporting, this is from when I was with the Daily Caller. There was a few issues where they had unaccompanied migrant children on the illegal marijuana farms in California. So that was from our reporting. So there is that crisis with unaccompanied minors. Like I said, this is not even like a conspiracy or anything. I mean, like I said, I think Axios and New York Times covered it, where the government couldn't get in contact with over like 300,000 kids, and you can only imagine with more unaccompanied minors, the resources continue to thin up. So a lot of these children, I mean, who knows the type of homes they're being put in? Like I said, these adults are not being vetted. I believe there was that one story on Telemundo, if I'm not wrong, where this unaccompanied minor was like raped by a guy, and it was like the mother who like took their daughter there. It was just like there's like a lot of stories like that. Um,
Yeah,
so
my
that's the
brain
other
goes
part of
to
the
some
story.
my brain goes to some really dark places when I hear that, and all the stories on the media are so vague. But when I think of 300,000 children missing, I'm like, shouldn't I see some of these children? Like, what's going on? Where the fuck are they? That's a lot of kids. That's a
And
lot of kids.
I like I said, I believe it should be covered more, and the stories that I hear, like I remember I interviewed one mom who told me about her teenage daughter being sexually assaulted by cartel members while they were going through Mexico. So then you have the issue of all these kids who the other story is all the kids who don't even make it across the border that were probably killed in Mexico, either maybe the cartel kidnapped those kids and then maybe are going to force them into their own sex trafficking, labor trafficking. um so then you have that other issue too. It's just a dark underworld, the border, especially with the children. And like I said, I covered it from a death's perspective of kids drowning, but then you also have, like I said, these children that are traveling without parents. And then they're unfortunately they're gonna get lost in the system.
And these are people who, a lot of them are beat down, very insecure, afraid, super easily intimidated, right? And coerced, like crazy easy intimidated and coerced.
Yeah, that's right. And then you have to also deal with, like, for these unaccompanied children, it's like they don't know the language. They're obviously in a foreign country. They're now under federal custody, and like they're trying to connect them to a sponsor. There's no like representative for that child. I mean, who's following up? Who's going to those homes and seeing? Is this even a safe home? Is it even sanitary? Is the kid going to even eat? We literally don't have an idea. I'm not saying every single scenario. I'm sure there's those scenarios where it's really their family members, and then they're connected, and that's great. But when the government can't follow up on 300,000 children, and that was, I believe, that report was like 2 years ago. So that number could possibly be even higher now.
Christine Young, disgusting humans. The government can't even take care of our own children in the system. That's a really good point. Hey, and Christine Nome, head of Homeland Security. That's a strong human being right there. Strong woman with a lot of conviction, strong values. Do you think she's up for the job?
We'll have to wait and see. Christy Nome also deployed her state troopers from her state to the border.
What was her state? She's South Dakota.
South Dakota, yeah. And then she's been here at the border because I've been here when she was here. She's also been, I believe, also in the Arizona border as well. So she's seen it. With that, you just have to wait and see. Can she handle that big of an operation? That this big of a responsibility? We'll have to wait. We'll have to wait and see. I think at the end of the day, Trump has picked people who are going to follow his agenda. So it's whatever he wants to carry out. These picks are going to do that. I think
he's picking loyal people. That's for sure, right? I mean, the fact that he picked Gates as Attorney General shows he's picking very loyal people. Gates really put his neck out a few times. I would say Gates isn't even a Republican.
Oh man, right now Washington is like on freak out mode with that pick.
I mean, they should be on freak out mode. There's going to be a lot of unemployed people. They should be really, really freaked out. I believe they should be really freaked out. I think the unemployment rate is going to skyrocket in this country. I think people are. I mean, you saw he's going to shut down the whole entire United States Department of Education. Thank God. In my opinion, that's like long overdue. I don't think that there's a single statistic that validates the existence of the U.S. State Education Department.
And it's getting interesting because a lot of because obviously when this news broke out yesterday, a lot of politicians are not going on TV and be like, we're not even sure Gates could actually get confirmed. From my perspective, watching this whole political breakdown, I think he is going to get confirmed because I think if any Republican goes against it, I think Trump and MAGA are just going to come after you and send a primary challenger and then get you out.
Right.
I think Trump now is more. Yeah, I mean, personally, I also just watching politics breakdown is. I also think Trump is now more kingmaker of the Republican Party than ever. And I just think there's no. I mean, from my perspective, I know people think he's not going to get confirmed. I think if you're a Republican, you don't confirm him, they're going to. I mean, MAGA world is going to come after you, and they're going to throw a primary challenge you, and they're going to try to get you out of office.
Meaning, if you go against them the next time you're up for re-election, that will be what leveraged against you, and you'll be toast.
I think so. I think that's why Trump also felt comfortable going for the Gates pick. Because I think he's just gonna also be like, hey, I have Trump right now is as popular than ever with Republican voters, and then he has all these politicians on the Republican side walking the MAGA line, and I just think anyone who goes against it on the Republican side, and I think I think Charlie Kirk even put out a tweet saying we're gonna primary you if you go against MAGA's agenda, and obviously Gates is part of that MAGA agenda.
Um, when I see these states that voted blue on the border, like New Mexico, why did they do that? If the conventional wisdom is like, hey, didn't you see what happened? Joe Biden fucking ruined your state. He opened the border and caused chaos in your state. Or Kerry Lake not winning Arizona. Do those surprise you, especially from the border states?
So let me start with New Mexico. New Mexico had the illegal crossings, but the thing is, New Mexico never had those images that you saw in Texas, right? Like thousands of folks, big lines. Not saying that New Mexico didn't hit those peaks or anything like that, but they just didn't have those like overwhelming images. I haven't looked at the counties on the border of New Mexico, so I'll be interested to see how they voted. If maybe they went right, and then obviously as you get closer inland, they went blue. So I have to look at New Mexico, but New Mexico didn't have those images. Arizona, and this is just for me watching politics and the whole thing. I love studying everything the media is, and you might disagree with this, but Carrie Lake, from my perspective, try to be too much female Trump. Like she and I think with voters,
I get that vibe from her. I would call her the female Trump, maybe even like a little more refined, smarter version of Trump. Even
I think the voters want to like what makes Trump is that he's not putting up an act. It's him. He's an outlier. There's only one Trump, and I think we try to see after Trump a lot of other politicians try to do the Trump playbook, and it's cringe. It doesn't work. It doesn't roll off the tongue. What's different with Carrie Lake is she was a TV journalist, TV anchor, so she's obviously very good on camera and she's a good communicator. You don't have to like what she says. But the issue is, for a lot of voters, it wasn't authentic. She wasn't being herself, and I think she went too on the trying to be Trump where she wasn't herself. And what was interesting is like you didn't also see Trump like promote her like that. Like he wasn't.
Yeah,
he endorsed her, but you didn't have the even Trump like MAGA. I mean, you had obviously Charlie Kirk in that world supporting Carrie Lake, of course, but like Trump camp wasn't throwing Carrie Lake, like they weren't backing her as strong as maybe her first time she ran. Also, like you could also tell they never threw her on the campaign trail for Trump. Like she never came out and spoke, especially when the women vote was kind of like becoming a bigger deal. I just think she went, like I said, to the point where she was too not herself. And I think that might have. There's obviously other dynamics in Arizona. And I mean, she ran against a moderate Democrat. It wasn't like Rubin came out and was like open borders or anything. I mean, he supports strong borders. Was able to communicate that message to the working class voters on both sides. And I just think, like I said, this is my perspective. People are going to disagree. That's fine. She just was not herself, and I think that was just clear to the voters.
Do you think the fact that the Trump team didn't use her in the campaign or didn't really get behind her as much as they could have, that's a sign she's also not going to get a position in the Trump admin?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Obviously we'll have to find out more internally on what Trump camp was thinking. But that's like one thing that I've noticed, because there was like candidates that were in those tight races. Trump would come in either to support or even do speeches. I remember like the big one was like Montana. I forgot it was Tester against somebody. I forgot, but Montana had kind of an issue. Trump came in support. I think if Trump really did believe in Carrie Lake, they would have brought her out on his campaign trail, because you needed that. You needed the women vote. You needed a good communicator, and they never pulled her in. I mean, he went with Megyn Kelly before he went with with Carrie Lake. So I think they saw something there. I mean, like I said, we would probably have to find out a little bit more. But I also spoke to other, because I'm always interested to know what Republican voters are saying. So I kind of just reached out to some of my friends who are Republican voters, and many of them were like, "Hey, I like Carrie Lake. You know, she has a strong message, but she's like, they would be like, she's doing the Trump stick too much. There's only one Trump.
Yeah.
That it's just, be Carrie Lake. Let
Yeah.
Trump be Trump." And I think that's what probably cost her in the end.
Jorge, the other thing, so what's the deal with terrorists coming across? And by terrorists, I mean people from the Middle East, Al Qaeda, ISIS, um, uh, Iranians. Is that a real threat? Also, I keep seeing the stats I see is like 13 were apprehended at the border during Trump's administration. Now 116 or something have been apprehended during the Biden administration. Is
Yeah, if
there
this
a
is the Biden
serious
one,
threat here in the
yeah, I
country,
would
you
expect
think?
the numbers again. I think the Biden one's a lot higher. Yes, absolutely. This is the reason it's a serious threat. A, because we had so much illegal immigration that it overloads border patrol agents, it overloads systems, all that operations. We know that, right? When you have this massive amount of illegal immigration. The other issue is these individuals are coming from countries that the U.S. government has labeled as special interest, meaning they need to be deeply vetted because they're coming from a country that we are not friendly with, terrorist ties, things like that. China is also under special interest. The issue with these special interest countries, right? Afghanistan, Iraq, a bunch of countries in Africa, all this stuff, the Middle East, Asia, is is when these individuals cross over illegally, and the government or the border patrol just tries to vet them with their information. 99% of the time that country will not share that information with the United States. So what do I mean by that? For instance, and we have this issue with Venezuela as well, is if a Venezuelan who's committing crimes in Venezuela comes over to the US illegally, the US government probably won't even know that, because when they vet them, or they check their information, the government of Venezuela is not going to share any of their database with us. And same thing with all these migrants coming, or I want to say migrant individuals coming from special interest countries, is those countries are not going to share any type of criminal database with the United States. So what happens is, and I know we're talking about terrorists, but I want to bring out a pretty heinous crime, is that Venezuelan Jose Ibarra. Jose Ibarra is the man who murdered the Georgia student Lincoln Riley, right? So when Jose Ibarra crosses over illegally into the U.S. back, I believe, in 2022 in El Paso, this guy committed a murder here in the U.S., obviously, but if he committed a murder in the U.S., he likely is a criminal back in Venezuela. I'm just trying to,
Right.
if I was a betting man. The
Right.
issue is Jose Barr comes over illegally in El Paso. U.S. Border Patrol obviously does the apprehension. They do the processing. They have nothing to say Ibarra is a criminal in Venezuela. So then Ibarra gets released, he gets released into the U.S. with like a future court date, whatever. Then Jose Ibarra commits a crime. And that's only with an individual from Venezuela. Can you imagine someone from Afghanistan that has terrorist ties? We have literally no idea. I don't know if you could Google it. I believe like NBC News had a story where the government found out that like 13 terrorists were like in the U.S. for like months. I mean, there's now a bunch of more of these stories of folks from like Middle East countries, Asia, who have terrorist ties, crazy, just ties to some sketchy stuff. There was like ISIS trafficking story. These individuals, like I said, the government has no. I mean, the border patrol just can't get a database. I believe there was also an issue where a lot of these individuals were also getting fake passports in Turkey. So then when they would cross over illegally, they had a kind of a fake identification to get. And once again, it's hard to verify if the other country isn't willing to share the database. And an issue that I've reported with the Chinese, and I've been reporting this for two years, 2.5 years, is the Chinese would come over, and what the Chinese would do is they would destroy their identification documents on the Mexican border and then cross illegally. So then the U.S. Then these guys are giving the U.S. government a fake Chinese name. They can't verify it because China doesn't want to share any information. So then we don't know who these individuals are, and it's just once again it's just piling on each other this issue of national security. I think Tom Homan too. I don't know this, but I think they're going to put a huge shutdown, obviously on the border and everything. But they're gonna put a stop on special interest aliens. I think even being released into the U.S. just because you have to verify it's almost you have to verify, and if the country doesn't want to share that database, I personally think they're gonna probably just do a whole block on anyone from a special interest country.
During COVID, people got really rich giving the shot. Like I had acquaintances who were able to buy homes in Costa Rica, new G wagons. These are physicians who they got paid for every injection they gave. One of the ways the federal government might want to do this is, I guarantee you, all the police forces across the country would step in line if they could sell illegal aliens back to the federal government. Meaning, you do a traffic stop and you got someone and they're illegal, sell them back to the federal government. They give your department $100. You know what I mean? I'm sure. I bet you there's really creative ways that you could start scooping these people up really, really quickly.
Yeah, I think check if you could Google. I believe there's an Ohio sheriff. Oh man, I wish I had because I saw the tweet yesterday. There's an Ohio sheriff who was like, I believe he put out a tweet saying like, "Hey, President Trump, we are like I forgot the county. He's like, our county is ready to work with you to get those illegals out of here." So I think you'll have those conservative counties come out and work close with Tom Homan and ICE and this deportation process. On the other hand, you're gonna also have those cities that are not gonna cooperate. So I'm wondering how Homan's gonna kind of work that. I know from my home state in where you and I are from California. I know LAPD, the LAPD chief has already come out and was like, we're not going to cooperate.
He said they're not
So I
going to
think that's going to
cooperate.
get.
He said they're not going to cooperate.
Yeah, LA. I think it was. I think it was yesterday. saw that in a presser, the LAPD chief said that they're not going to cooperate. I know I saw that in Ohio sheriff said that they are. So I'm willing. I'm willing to bet money there's probably going to be more sheriffs and, like I said, more conservative counties, or even Democrat sheriffs who saw that issue firsthand.
They'll
They're
do
going to
anything
cooperate.
for money. They'll do anything for money. These guys are whores. They'll do anything for money. And boy, I hope after what we saw happen in California and Oakland with the mayor and the DA getting recalled, and this Joker, the district attorney, and what's his name in Los Angeles, Gasson, or
That's
what was that
gone.
kid? Yeah, thank God he's gone. Okay. Another question. When they give us these stats, this is piggybacking off of the vetting thing you're saying. When they give us these stats, like there's 13,000 rapists who were released or 13,000 murderers, are they telling me that they caught someone, they vetted them, they saw that they were a murderer, and that they still let them go into our country?
So those are those are individuals. What they say they gotta it's that, and then there's it's called like an ICE criminal docket. So a lot of also those folks have committed those serious crimes but are in jails now here in the U.S. Um, so yeah, I gotta get the exact numbers, but yeah, it was like 13. It was like crazy the amount.
It was over 10,000 for rapists and killers each in the pile. And I was like, wait a second. You're telling me they catch these guys, they know that they rape someone, and yet they still let them go in the country?
They still let them go, man. Yeah, like I said, those are the individuals that I think Holman has made clear in his messaging so far in the media that are going to be deported first, and I think they're going to start working their way down. So they're going to remove all. I think they're going to remove all those individuals. I mean, I don't know of all, but I think they're gonna start to go after him, and I think they might even like the I think sometimes the local law enforcement that maybe is not going to try to cooperate might be feeling the pressure to. So I think that's what Holman wants to address as soon as Trump takes office in January.
Did you see the James O'Keefe border movie?
No, I did not.
I didn't see it either, but I heard it was great. Are you hearing good things about it?
I haven't seen it. Oh man, people are not gonna like me for this. I haven't. I haven't seen it. The thing as a border reporter and reporting on this issue is, and this is, man. Okay, the audience is gonna. This is where they take the turn on me. Um, basically,
You think it was glorified? You think he went too far? You think he exaggerated?
he does things that are so over the top that it kills the messaging. And hold on, everyone,
Okay.
slow your roll before you
Okay.
call me a libtard. The the thing that turned me off was when I started first seeing clips was that border patrol agent guy, um, who he was acting like he was like exposing something that like we almost didn't know. Like he didn't give me any new information, and he was almost like O'Keefe portrayed him as a whistleblower. Um, when he didn't give us any information that we didn't know. We knew that these kids are being released, and we knew about this. I mean, literally, like, New York Times covered it. So he wasn't giving me anything new. And I think what I don't know if your audience knows the podcast Fresh and Fit. I saw that same border patrol agent like about 2-3 months before the O'Keefe film on the Fresh and Fit, and he was like in full border patrol outfit. And once again, he was being portrayed as a whistleblower. But when I saw it, a whistleblower gives you something absolutely new, bombshell. Um,
Yeah.
like something, it would have to be something egregious where, like, I don't know, like, let's say a Venezuelan came, and this is just an example. Let's say there was a database, and let's say this Venezuelan came, and we found out that this guy committed like 5 homicides in Venezuela, and then we just released him to the US. That's a bombshell. Um, but he wasn't giving us anything new. And the thing is, first, like I said, first I saw him on that Fresh and Fit podcast, and when I saw it, no new information, nothing that was whistleblower worthy. I almost saw a guy like just trying to get some clout, you
Mm.
know. And I kind of saw like I could see when someone is actually trying to give you valuable information, and when someone is doing the trying to get clout. I don't know if they want clicks, followers. I don't know if this guy's like, let me get out. If I do this, look, maybe that guy also, like, again, he might have good intentions. He might. I know that he probably thinks it's an issue, and his and morale is down in border patrol, and I get that. Like, I spoke with border patrol agents who literally tell me, Jorge, I'm basically an Uber driver. I think I've said that quote like many times on your show. I'm an Uber driver for migrants. I get that, but I saw him trying to get clout. I didn't see him actually trying to give me any valuable information. He brought up the 300,000 kids. It's like, yeah, we know that because like a reporter broke that in the New York Times. So he was no bombshell, and that was I saw him on Fresh and Fit. And then I saw the O'Keefe clips, and once again I was like, he never gave me anything new. And then like all these and then O'Keefe obviously would do the thing where like, oh, they sent him this thing of like, why did he talk to us? It's like, well, yeah, he's a federal agent. He's not supposed to be like on camera in uniform. Like I don't know. It was like that just was like I don't know. And then I noticed that like the border reporters that like were like on the ground and who broke like real investigative stories, none of them got like tapped for this documentary. Some of the guys that O'Keefe worked with, uh, like the Anthony Aguero guy, he's like a guy who's like all about cloud. He's like a streamer on the border. He and the thing is, Anthony's not a real reporter, so Anthony could say a lot of fake things and he won't get fired or he won't lose people's audience. Like I don't know, Keith put so much like he like trusted that guy too. I don't know. It was just from like I said, like from being a reporter on the border, breaking these stories, and other really good reporters, like none of them got tapped for this. Um,
So you think it was more, it was sensationalized, and some things that we've known all along were kind of like makeup was put on the pig. Like, yeah, we know it's 300,000 kids. Yeah, we know the cartels running sections of the border. Yeah, a lot of that stuff. We know the border patrol are upset having to be Uber drivers. Tanya Bowers, I like and respect Jorge's honesty, his experience, and heart for sticking to the facts. Thank you, sir. Simon Hernandez, such a good podcast. Jorge's the man. So much good info and crazy stories this man has.
I also want to say, I'm not saying that the documentary wasn't good or it's not. Like it's. I always want the message to get. So that like people should watch it. Whatever. I'm just saying, as someone who was on the ground, um, I didn't get anything new that was like, oh my god! Like I said, I haven't watched this. Like I don't know if I think O'Keefe goes into Mexico and does things and all that stuff. That'd be great. Like I said, I haven't watched it. Um, but like I also and then like I said, people could get mad at me for this, but I also don't also agree with this. Like, and because I seen that guy Anthony Aguero do it, and like I said, Aguero worked with O'Keefe where they kind of label border patrol agents as like, you guys are like trafficking children. When it's like, dude, border patrol agents are not trafficking children. They are under, they're under federal government rule, and under the Biden administration, it's a catch and release policy. At the end of the day, these are guys doing their job, and I don't know. It's just like I said, it seemed like a lot of it was to get clouts and clicks, and I completely get that. Um, so that's my perspective. So I probably sound like a hater, but
No,
um,
you don't.
I just want
I
to keep it
feel
real.
you
I'd
on
rather
it.
just keep it real than give you guys like a fake answer. Like, oh, it was great. Like I said, the border patrol agent whistleblower, he didn't give me anything new. He didn't even I don't know. He didn't give us a document that like said like, hey, border patrol agent encountered a terrorist, and then we still released him. And like we didn't the kids thing too. Like the kid thing we knew about. I mean, and like I said, I just saw a border patrol agent more caring about trying to get famous than giving us the truth. And I think O'Keefe ran with that. Um, and yeah, I don't know, man. I just like I said, I don't know. They try to portray border patrol as the bad guys in this story when I mean they're absolutely not. If anything, they're the entity that has their hands completely tied in this story for me.
Let's talk about some juicy gossip. Rumors of MSNBC and CNN being purchased by Elon. Stories
I
like
mean, I
that.
have to see a
Are
credible
you
report on
hearing? Say that again.
I would have to see a credible report on Elon wanting to buy them. I haven't seen anything like credible on that.
It's a great rumor, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I know ratings are down, um, but I mean, it would be hard to imagine Elon actually buying MSNBC. But honestly, I mean, actually, we've seen crazier things happen. I think it's interesting right now. There's kind of like a something happening in media where Jeff Bezos came out, blocked the Washington Post Kamala endorsement. Doesn't
Which
care
is
that he
not a
loses the
credible
press.
organization, by the way. Speaking of not credible organizations, the Washington Post is not a credible organization. They are very bad.
And I think Bezos. Who knows what his true intentions are. Obviously, he's has Amazon and other things that he's worried about. Government contracts, things like that. But I noticed that obviously with the Post, L.A. Times, the owner of the New York L.A. Times, then goes and then blocks the Kamal endorsement as well.
They
And
called
then
Larry Elder a white man in blackface. Also scumbags of the highest order. Go on. Sorry.
and then obviously the election happens, and then I saw like a tweet by the L.A. Times owner saying the vote. He's like the voters have spoken, and they are not with this. The messaging that basically the L.A. Times has been putting out. This is the owner of the L.A. Times saying the voters have spoken, and we have not been aligned. And so he's like basically putting out a tweet saying we are going to be more fair, balanced. We're going to have more nuanced views. Um, there's a lot of on the left leaning media. It'd be like Pod Save America and the other ones who are actually having honest assessments to why they lost the election, right? Being honest and being like the voters are not with us. If you watch MSNBC, they still don't get it. They still don't get that America is not with their messaging. And I think you'll see that in the ratings that continue. We'll see if someone comes in and buys them out. I know that today I think like Infowars sold to the Onion in that like auction thing. That's a whole nother story. But it's just like if you're I'm just wondering on what I know CNN has been trying to kind of come back into the middle, where MSNBC has absolutely not. I mean, if anything, MSNBC is still almost like attacks their voters who don't agree with them. I mean, not their voters, but they attack kind of Americans who don't have that viewpoint that they do. And I think they're good. They're paying for it. Corporate media right now is really paying for this election. It's a big wake up call for them. A lot of them, I believe, Brian Stelter put out a report that he talked to a TV executive where the TV executive admitted he's like, hey, people don't give a shit about us anymore. They don't. Obviously, they don't care what we have to say. We've been saying Trump is a fascist or a threat to democracy for 4 years. obviously they don't agree with that. So I think they're losing their footing. I believe the Wall Street Journal put out that report after like Trump went on this huge podcast run. I believe the headline was the new media is leaving the old guard behind. So for me right now, we're watching this kind of obviously we've been watching media change, but I think this election was a huge wake up call for a lot of these folks where they've lost the messaging and they're trying to reel it back. And I think that's what the LA Times owner is trying to do. You know, we don't know Bezos' true intentions, but he seems like he's trying to reel that back in and trying to have that more balanced approach. So we'll obviously see if that even happens.
We saw like Jon Stewart leave Comedy Central back in the day, and he lost his clout. We saw O'Reilly get kicked off of Fox. He lost his clout, and there's endless examples. But when Tucker got booted off of Fox, he fucking survived. And
Well,
I know and what's crazy is Tucker I think people like always talk about Rogan, but what Tucker did is really he actually made the fucking leap. And he's more popular than ever. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think Tucker's change is Tucker's move or Fox getting rid of Tucker has created this. I think like with his Tucker Carlson network and with the subscription service is going to like absolutely change the game in the way this new media landscape is shaping up. What the interesting with journalism thing, and then this is what I'm trying to tell folks is, for instance, this is just like I'm just in a little example, but even before I was technically working for the Daily Caller, I had folks that supported me when I was in college, and I remember I would do a lot of self-funding trips, and people believed in me, donated, and we were able to do a lot of reporting. That's me without an employer. What I think, I don't know, I mean, Fox knew this, but Tucker had built so much trust with people. It didn't even matter where Tucker could go. People were going to follow him no matter what. He's now created his own media platform where I think other big time journalists, where people who love them, support them. A lot of people who I don't know if, maybe Fox did not realize this. A lot of folks who watch Tucker necessarily weren't Fox News people, but they felt like Tucker told them the truth, right? I know a lot of people who watch Fox strictly for Tucker, and as soon because after Tucker would be Hannity, and they just hated Hannity. They feel like, oh, it's back to that boomer kind of Republican talking points. I can't. Where Tucker wasn't that. Tucker would criticize both sides. He would go really hard at Republicans, but in a way that Republican voters wanted to see and channel that anger. And I think Tucker right now is going to change the media landscape with his move. He's going to be obviously. I mean, he's going to be, I think, successful. That's for sure. Now, what was interesting to me now is, and we could bring this up because Don Lemon announced that he's leaving X yesterday. I believe Don Lemon was fired.
Again, Don Lemon's What do you mean he's leaving X? Like he's not going to post on Twitter anymore?
Yeah. He posted this whole statement, but what I wanted to mention was, so Don Lemon and Tucker are similar, right? They're both been at this network, and then they at their networks for years. I think over a decade, and they both get fired. Tucker gets fired, but he has trust and following, so he can start his own thing. Don Lemon gets fired, and he was like, he doesn't have to launch the Don Lemon network, but he's like, hey, I'm gonna go, obviously be independent. And the thing with Don is he went independent, but he still has the mainstream media mindset where Tucker has already been, even on Fox, has been speaking freely, and then now he can just let it off the guardrails. Where Don Lemon left corporate media, but then still has a corporate media mindset, trying to operate in this independent media space, and it just has been an absolute disaster.
Great description, dude. Great description.
And then you see Megyn Kelly starts her own thing, can now speak way freely, and doesn't have a corporate media mindset where Don is still operating there. And you saw that right away when he interviewed Musk. He still had a corporate media mindset, and I think it just has not worked out the way that it's worked out for Tucker and other folks who've been able to break off independent. And it doesn't even have to be like you starting a whole network. It could just be, hey, I'm going independent. I'm on a Substack. People love Matt Taibbi, Glenn Greenwald, all these other journalists. So That to me was interesting to watch. And I think one thing that I've been having a conversation with journalists, particularly student journalists in college, is earn your trust with your audience. For instance, I work for News Nation right now. I don't want to be fired. I like working for News Nation. But let's just say, for example, News Nation fires me tomorrow. News Nation could fire me tomorrow, and I could at least then tomorrow, let's say there was a story on the board that I really wanted to get to, I could at least then turn around to my audience and say, guys, if you support me and if you trust me these years, can you have my back, or could you sign into my Patreon for now? I'm not saying I'll have the most subscribers in the world, but I'll at least have a decent following where I can make those reportings happen. So I've been telling student journalists, for example, don't worry about having thousands of followers and a big following. Just get 10 people to trust you. Like, get 10 people to ride or die for your content. Then obviously you'll have 50 people and 100, and then you could build up. Because we live in an era, people won't trust a journalist, not necessarily the media company name, if that makes sense.
Dude, Tommy G.
That's the man. That's the fucking man.
The thing is, don't get me wrong. He has an incredible amount of self-confidence. He's obviously eminently capable as a man. He's self-assured. He can go anywhere. But like if you're a 15 to fucking 25-year-old male that has nothing going on, and you can get 3 friends who will work as hard, or just even yourself, you can just start being a journalist. I mean, it's hard work. It is it's 24/7. But what else are you gonna do? Chase pussy? I mean, like,
that's true.
Like, I'm surprised there aren't more. I'm surprised there are more. It's just consistent and every day. Just go out and start telling stories. Pick up. You can film it with your phone now. Did you see these new Rode mics that came out?
Oh, I love those mics, man.
Did you see they have a $149 version now that plugs into the Rode, just announced yesterday, plugs into the bottom of your iPhone, and you just click it and you're done. I mean, I know other people have had that before, but now Rode has cracked the code on it. I mean, like, it's done. They'll probably pass DJI as like the new popular one,
Oh yeah, I mean, I agree. I think
you used to do all your stuff. When I met you, you were a cell phone guy, and the caliber of work was crazy high, and you were the cell phone guy.
It just honestly, it's all about because I was just super passionate. I was still, my advice is, a lot of folks see it and they're like, they just want the part where they're on TV and they're getting recognition. But your heart has to be in the game, because you have to do it for years with no following. I think the reason why a lot of people stray away from journalism, this is just the truth, is like, I mean, it's hard. It's extremely hard to make a living. Like, the folks who actually make a living, it's a little bit of percentage, especially on the national level. A lot of people go down the local news route, but it's hard. It's hard to make it to the other side where you could make a living. Making a living is one thing. Then the next step is, can I support a family?
Right.
When I was at the Daily Caller, I came in the game a little bit late, because like Daily Caller usually takes in college interns at like, when they're 18, 19, 20, 21. I was like going to community college. I was the F up when I was around 2021. So I went to community college late. I got into Daily Caller late, like at 25. And at that time, I'm making not really a lot of money, because Daily Caller is like a digital media. And at that time I could make that much money at 25, 20. I'm 29 now. And I can't do that anymore. I'm gonna have, I'm trying to have a family, or also be like the man who puts food on the table. So I could see why that it's a big turnoff for people, man. It's hard. Like I said, the folks you see maybe on TV, it's the 1% that make it to even that millionaire status. So the rest are essentially eating crumbs, fighting for crumbs. Then it's just a huge uphill battle.
Well, also what sets you apart is you found something you're passionate about, and so you're excited. If you hear something going on, you're like a border expert. You've become an expert. You're interested in what the wall's made of, what's the best way to cross, what's the worst way to cross, who are the leaders along the wall, what animals are at the wall, what the weather's like at the wall. I mean, you're a fucking border fucking expert, and it's your passion. So like, you don't have any problem getting out of bed every morning, right? And so like,
no.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm
And
driven,
so
man.
you're gonna win. You're gonna win no matter what. That's also the huge part. You have to like you give a fuck. Like you're a PhD in the wall, and it's like it's pretty fucking cool what you've done with yourself.
Thank you, man. Yeah, you just have to be like, you have to be delusional. I think that, and a big thing too is like, I mean, when I got the internship at the Daily Caller, and then I think it was like the third day of my internship is when the George Floyd riots started, and when the riots started, I remember thinking, um, I'm like, if I don't basically risk my life and cover these riots, then I'm never gonna make it.
Mm.
And um and I basically looked at that as like a life or death situation because I was like, man, I'm 25. So if I don't get a job at the Daily Caller and I go back home to California, back to community college, I'm like, I'm gonna basically I'm gonna end myself. You know, I mean, as a joke, but I was like, I'm running out of options. So I remember when that happened, I just was like, I'm gonna risk it all because I'm like, there's no plan B for me after this. And I think with anything, it doesn't even have to be journalism. You just have to have that delusional mindset too, where there's no F in plan B because plan B is death for me. It was almost the mindset I had to have. So when the riots kicked off, it wasn't even a question, man, that I was gonna be in the field. Didn't care about the dangers, didn't care about being arrested, beat up. I mean, I just was like, I have to do this, or I'm gonna like not gonna do. I'm never gonna do this again for the rest of my life, and I'm gonna hate my life forever. Um, so I just had to balls to the wall, man, and just put my head down and said, I don't give an F.
Um, speaking of riots, how I'm so surprised there aren't riots.
Oh, I do want to
How,
say something real quick.
how come the left isn't rioting? I thought for sure they'd be fucking. I mean, that's their playbook, right? Why aren't they
I
rioting?
thought so too, man. I remember I told my work, I was like, hey, if you guys need me in Washington D.C., I got the helmet, I got the gas mask, I got everything.
Yeah.
I think the energy's out, man. And then I mean, Trump winning the popular vote. It's just I thought they were gonna riot too. I do want to do a quick just a
Please.
quick shout out real quick. For folks who actually want all the crazy deep like the inner stories into the 2020 riots, my former colleague at the Daily Caller, Richie McGinnis, this has just came out like literally like last week. A new book. It's called Riot Diet, and it's on Amazon, and it's amazing. Richie basically tells he's part of the DC riot squad. They
Spell
call
his
it,
name for me. Richie or Y?
no, it's with the E. Richie, then McGinnis, McGinnis. Richie McGinnis. It's called Riot Diet. So if you guys we're fascinated about the riots and the riot coverage and just like that part of history, but you also want the inner story of like of us, the Daily Caller, like us breaking the stories, us putting ourselves in danger, but also us because at that look now it's easy to be like, oh yeah, the riots were crazy and all this stuff. But I remember at that time, the corporate media consensus was these are peaceful protests. So we went against that corporate media bias, and I don't want to spend too much talking about it, but really recommend everyone to get the book, especially from Richie's perspective. He's such a great storyteller. But for folks who don't know, Richie was in front of when we were in Kenosha for the Rittenhouse shooting. Richie was in front of Rosenbaum. That's the guy that got shot in the head by Rittenhouse. So
Was he
Richie
the
tells
pedophile?
these.
Was Rosenbaum the pedophile?
Yes. So Richie tells you the story of basically because at that time he doesn't know. We don't know who Rosenbaum is, right? It's like we don't have his criminal history on us. He's just some random
Right.
guy. So he tells you the story of witnessing him get shot in the head. Authorities basically telling Richie he had, basically Richie going to the hospital, meeting with authorities, breaking down this crazy situation. Even a year later, Richie then had to go on trial because he was a witness in it and played a key role in why Rittenhouse won for self-defense. Richie's eyewitness statement was big because I forgot who was the individual, but there was an individual that went for Rittenhouse's gun, and then they attacked him with the skateboard first. And I believe that statement played a huge role in Rittenhouse having self-defense. So either way, please, everyone, you guys have to check it out. It's called Riot Diet, and it's just like one of those key moments in our history.
I don't
And there's
see
just so
the
many.
audiobook. Where the fuck is the audiobook?
I don't know if there's an audio yet. I know he has paperback. Yeah. So yeah, Ryan died. It's a interesting perspective from Richie. Then Richie kind of tells you the inner stories about me of like Salvadorian kid from California, on an unpaid internship, and how we just went, how we just went crazy at the right. I think the funny thing is, on my first day of my internship, when I meet Richie and I shake his hands, I remember looking him in the eye and telling him, I'm like, hey man, I'm a crazy motherfucker, bro. So if you whatever need me to do, I'm gonna do it. And then little did we know the riots kicked off like 40 hours later.
And you were there with them? You guys were partners in crime there?
Yes, yes. It was technically it was me, Richie, and then we had a female reporter, Shelby Telcott, and then we got labeled as the DC Riot Squad, because we were the ones. We went to Seattle, Chaz. First, we were in DC because DC got crazy. We were in DC. I remember we flew directly to Seattle because Seattle had that Seattle Chaz thing. If you guys remember Portland rioted for over 100 days, and I think we were there for like 3 weeks of it. Um, so there's just a bunch of good stuff, and you guys, like I said, crazy stories. For folks who remember, I got arrested because Louisville PD thought I was a rioter, and I went to jail overnight. There's just
Racist.
yeah, there's just it's just a lot of good stuff. I think the audience will kind of enjoy that moment in history, but also just like I said, from our perspective of like we were three journalists at a digital media company that wasn't like nationally known. I mean, yeah, Daily Caller was known in DC, and for folks who don't know, Daily Caller at that time was owned, I believe half of it or majority of it was owned by Tucker Carlson.
Does he still own it?
No, during 2020, he because his co-owner or co-founder was his college roommate Neil Patel, and Neil Patel was like the big boss also at the Daily Caller, and during the 2020 riots, Tucker let Patel own 100% of it, and I don't know the theory, like the real reason why. My personal theory is that I remember during that time Tucker was so passionate about the riots. I remember his show was number one, but it really hit number one in the summer of 2020 because he was just so angry, obviously, of the images, but he was also attacking Republican leadership for like not protecting American cities. And I think, like I said, for my theory is I think Tucker got so passionate about that issue and just about where the country was going that he was like, Neil, you handle Daily Caller. I got a bigger fish to fry, and I think that's kind of what happened in 2020. I
And the
don't obviously
caller
don't know
just
for sure. It's my theory.
the caller just broke the big FEMA story where FEMA was they have evidence of FEMA avoiding houses that have Trump signs on them to help. That was a pretty crazy story.
That was a great. I believe. Oh man. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh man.
A couple days ago.
Yeah.
Hey,
Now mainstream media was forced to cover that story.
imagine
Oh, I just want to say
January,
one more, bro. Daily
please.
Caller too. When I was there, and this was a big story. And won rewards. One of our reporters broke the story of Andrew Cuomo and the whole old people and the ventilator
Oh,
story.
yeah.
Yeah, they broke that, and so yeah, man, great people over there. I love those guys to death.
Jorge, imagine January 6th again, right? And those people roll up to the Capitol, and the Capitol's surrounded by 50 water trucks. Does the American public have the stomach to open water cannons on protesters and keep them off and rubber bullets to keep them off the Capitol? For me personally, it's a no-brainer. You approach the Capitol building. By the way, I don't think it was to call it an insurrection. I think you're a complete fucking moron, especially relative to what we saw happen in Minneapolis. If you don't have fire and you don't have guns, it's just. I've done worse things that happened on January 6th and when I was in high school with my friends on a weekly basis. But why not? Do the American people have the stomach for water cannons and rubber bullets? I think they do. Why not just spray all those fuckers down and send them down the street, down to a pub or something?
Dude, now you're thinking about it, I think the water cannon would be a great tactic.
I mean, they should have done that everywhere. Why not just drive trucks around and just spray people down, just spray them away?
See,
I completely like you cannot march on a police station. You cannot walk
No.
on the cap. Yeah, how do the failure for me is just that they let anyone get into the building just means that whoever was guarding it was just completely incompetent.
I agree. I agree. And now, dude, now you're bringing it up. I like the water cannon truck idea. Why?
And it would
Why?
make for
Why do we
great
not bring that up?
it would make for I was looking online if I could buy a truck. I found you can buy a water cannon truck made in China for $150,000 and have it sent to your house.
Yeah, dude. When you watch the protests in foreign countries, those things just mow people down. I mean,
It's
dude, why
great
not?
content and it's great viral content.
Dude, now that I'm thinking, dude, why do we not just do water cannons?
Water cannons, dude, just water cannons everywhere. They do. I'll tell you a little stat on them. I was looking at the stats on them.
Some of these people they could get they'll go through rubber bullets all fucking day, even though they hurt. They'll go all. I've seen it. I've been in those crowds. They'll shoot rubber bullets and they hurt. I've been hit by them. Literally one in the forehead one time.
Seriously?
Yeah, and DC hit me in the floor. It was my first night as an intern, and it hit me right in the forehead. I was actually on Instagram Live, and I remember I was in this police line. I'm like, oh, this might be great content because the mob and the police line are about to clash. So I'm filming, and this cop aims, and I'm like, oh, he's not really gonna shoot at me, right? He knows I'm pressed, and he fucking shoots me in the forehead, and then I ran up to the side, and then I wasn't bleeding, and it was on my Instagram Live, so my following was like the followers were going crazy in the comments, and then some guy runs over to me, and obviously he sees that guy shot in the forehead, and he's like, and I didn't even think about this. He goes, like, hey man, he's like, thank God that rubber bullet did not land an inch or two. You would have been fucking blind. And I'm like,
Right.
whoa. And then I remember the next day, I guess some military guy was watching my live. He goes, hey Jorge, I saw what happened to you. Not cool. He's like, I'm gonna send you military grade goggles. And he's like, and I'm gonna send you a military grade helmet. And like the next day, I was already at my address, and I'm like, dude, let's fucking go. And then after that, I was never scared of that again. But I didn't realize. I was like, dude, you're right. I could have gone fucking blind. And oh my god, I couldn't even imagine.
Did that give you a head? Did you have a headache from that or a concussion?
No, thank God. It was just like a big kind of whiplash. I mean, I was good to go after that. I still reported several hours. And then the only thing I had like was a bump, but no. And then when the equipment came in, I was ready to go. And then same thing. The funny thing is like I was a college intern, so I don't have experience covering riots. No one did at that time, especially at that magnitude of the Black Lives Matter riots. But I remember we go to Portland. And same thing, I'm on Instagram Live. This time, I have the proper helmet and goggles, but I didn't have a gas mask because to that point, no one has fired gas into the crowd. But in Portland, they did. And I remember I got caught up in it. So I'm on live, and you could see me like basically crying. You could see people like needing milk in their eyes. I remember I was just crying, gushing. Because I mean, this is nasty. But when you're in that gas, you have a running nose too. So the running nose starts. You're basically crying, and then some other basically I guess former security guy saw that like at a high level and sent me this like fancy like crazy gas mask that it survived all summer 2020 and I still have it. It's still ready to go if it's needed.
So you wore it in other situations where you got tear gassed?
Yeah, just because like I said it was I didn't you have to imagine also from my perspective, right? Like coming from like a community college reporting and then all of a sudden we're in these fucking crazy riots where the country's changing. So and then I just hit the ground running. And because these were so new, it wasn't like Daily Call, network TV journalists, they always have this riot gear ready.
Right.
But like we were at the Daily Caller. These are guys that literally, I mean, all they do is report on Congress and senators. They're not, they didn't have any riot gear ready to go.
Right.
So it was almost during that time was you had to learn on the spot. And I remember like I said, coming from community college, the thinking was always, when you go do a report, you want to be TV presentable, obviously, right? Nice suit, you want to look clean. So I was used to that mindset. And I remember when I my first night covering the riots, obviously I'm in whatever clothes, they're riots. But I remember after covering the riots, I went back to my team because I witnessed a few TV cameramen actually get assaulted, like get beat up pretty bad. There's actually one photographer I witnessed got stomped out, and I remember when I went back to the Daily Caller team for like our night two, I said, hey guys, like from my personal perspective, we need to dress like them. Like if we look like journalists, they're gonna assault us, rob us. It's gonna get ugly out there. I said I think we need to do the black bloc clothing, right? Whereas we wear all black, just like they do, no logos, and then we need to do undercover and blend in. So then we started changing our tactics and started doing that. So for instance, like when we would arrive at a riot, we wouldn't just arrive there and be like filming people. We would arrive there, and then for about an hour, we would like join marches. So if, like there was marches, all cops are bastards. All cops are bastards. We were doing it too. All all cops are bad. So basically, people thought we were with them, and then little by
You're
little, it's
trying
just
to
how we got.
assimilate. You're trying to
Yes.
assimilate.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
people would come talk to us. So you also had to adapt the language. Like I said, I didn't know that these people like because you always hear that like on the internet, like that like far leftists say the word comrade. But I'm like people don't say that in person though, right? It's cringy. And then I'd be at the protest and people would be like, "Hey, what's going on, comrade?" And I'm like, "Oh shit, they do say that." So then I had to like adapt my language and what I basically had to talk like I was like some freedom fighter revolution guy.
Like a
And then
Marxist. Like a Marxist.
like a mark, and then this is gonna be in the Riot Diet book, but this is hilarious. So we get to Seattle Chaz, and obviously we already know this mindset, like we know how to go undercover. But my boss Richie took it to another level. So he's like, before we went to go report in Chaz, he's like, hey Jorge, let's go to the liquor store, let's buy a bunch of beers, and let's get a bunch of cigarettes. And I'm like, why? He's like, we're just gonna be handing out beers and smoking cigs with the protesters, and that's gonna bring their guard down. And I was like, at first I thought it was a funny idea, but then during during like our reporting, it worked out brilliantly. Like Richie's idea was genius. I mean, he would be sipping beers, ripping a cig, and the thing is, Richie already has like a hippie persona, so he doesn't really have to put on an act. I'm not like a hippie type, but like I'm from California. I know how to be cool. I know how to be laid back. Um, so we would be, ripping cigs. We'd be, if this at the end of the day, Richie's my boss. So if he's telling me to rip cigs and drink beers, I'm gonna do it. So and then people's guards I mean, people would really not think that we would reporting. And anytime we would film something with our phone, no one would attack us. No one would say put the phone down. And just people just thought that we were kind of like hippie protesters, and that strategy worked all summer. It was brilliant. And if actually a funny thing, it came out in the Rittenhouse trial because they asked like why we had Richard White had beers and cigarettes, and he told them.
You told him that story. Hey, that's the truth, man. You give those people cigarettes and they'll think they're your best friend.
Oh man, now I know going forward, like if we're in that situation again, go to the liquor store, get beers, rip them, drink some, slam some with the protesters, and you're all good after that.
Hey, dude, thanks for coming on. I know you're busy. You the man. Thank you.
Brother.
Have a great workout today. I look forward to the next time you come on. The
Hey,
people in the
just want to say,
audience
bro,
love
thanks
you.
again for having me on. The audience on your show is awesome, and anytime I'm on, they always support anything I got going on. They always DM me too, be like, "Hey, I found you on the pod." The only thing I always ask is everyone is if you like the content, just share it. Share it, blast it out. Instagram is Jorge Ventura TV. Even on my X Twitter is Ventura Report. And later today, I should be releasing the report on the social media of our reporting in Mexico, which is really good. Obviously, we're going to keep on the subject, everyone, on immigration, cartels, all types of crazy stuff.
That's what I meant to ask you. Let me hit you with one more question. Thank you. I'm glad you mentioned cartel. Holman said that he's going to declare war basically on the cartels. He says he's going to just destroy all the cartels. He called them the largest criminal organization, largest threat to the United States. They've killed 100,000 kids last year with the fentanyl they brought over the border. Is that serious? Do you think that basically Trump's going to strong arm Mexico and we're going to go in there and fucking get them?
So when it comes to this subject, man, I don't know if you guys know, he was like a former Mexican, like high security, did all crazy operations in law enforcement for them. Is Ed Calderon, who
I think you referenced him and I had him on this show. He's been on Rogan a few times.
He's been on Rogan a few times.
Yes,
So
he came on. He was great.
So from my like, this is before I heard his perspective, because I do value his opinion, because he knows this pretty well. But from my perspective, when I because even before this, obviously, this Holman announcement, Republicans have always been like, we need to go in Mexico and everything, take on the cartels. From my perspective, I'm like, I don't know how it makes sense for U.S. forces to intervene into Mexican soil, and then like take on the. I don't see how like even Mexican government would even allow us uh onto Mexican soil and then fight cartels. And then also, I don't even know how that would look like. Would that start like a mini civil war? Um, for instance, this is just an example, a bad example. It might be a bad example. But let's just say Mexico was located in the Middle East. Let's just say the Mexican cartels were over there. It's easier to take that fight on because we don't see it. It's not next to us. It's foreign. Mexico, for another example, like there's millions of Mexican Americans that live here. We have It's just like a different dynamic, and it's like I just don't like, from my perspective, I don't even see how U.S. forces could intervene and carry out that operation. So that was my perspective. Then I heard
Hey, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Then I heard Ed Calderon's perspective on it, and his kind of lined up with mine, where he was saying it's not like he doesn't see any legal way. I mean, not any, I mean legal, but there's just no way to carry out that operation with U.S. forces on Mexican soil to take on the cartels. And the other perspective that he added, which I thought was very fascinating, he says, okay, let's say you do declare, let's say the Sinaloa cartel a foreign terrorist organization. So what that means now is, if you're a Mexican in Mexico and you want to come to the U.S., boom, now you have basically guaranteed like legal asylum, whatever. Because now you could say, well, I live in Sinaloa or I live in Mexico, and there's a foreign terrorist organization. And now you're going to have this massive migration that, once again, I don't know the Republican Party wants. So you have to balance out of like, okay, if we declare them a foreign terrorist organization, then you're gonna basically have all these legal asylees in the U.S. And they're gonna have that credible case of that credible threat that they are under attack in their home country. I don't know, man. I just don't see. I don't see it.
Let's go extreme, Jorge. The U.S. brings aircraft carriers into this region and fires rockets into these countries to hit terrorist organizations.
But the thing is, like,
Oman,
I don't. The thing
Yemen.
is, like,
Like,
for instance, like,
why
the
not
Sinaloa
pull an
cartel.
aircraft carrier? Pull an aircraft carrier into the Gulf of Mexico. Tell the president of Mexico, hey, you're harboring fucking the world's wealthiest terrorists, and if you don't get them out, we're gonna start fucking lobbing missiles into your country. I mean, Mexico couldn't do anything.
See, I mean, this is.
I know it's our neighbor. But think about the fentanyl, dude. I mean, you know as much as I
No,
do. This shit's real.
Dude. Everyone knows I am not for this stuff. I
Right.
just don't. I don't know. I just don't. Because the thing is with these Mexican cartels, like, they live among the innocent Mexicans in their communities.
Right. I mean, they employ them. They're heroes there, right? They pay for the schools, the soccer fields. They keep the town safe. There's no crime in there. The cartel keeps them safe, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's their hearts and minds kind of operation. This is always just a great topic because it's like, oh man, so many scenarios. I do want to point out one, because kind of a small scenario, but kind of an example of U.S. Not being able to carry out the mission. So earlier this year, guys, we had the issue of of El Chapo's son kidnapping the other co-founder of the Sinaloa cartel, El Mayo Flaco, or something like that. No, it's just El Mayo, not the Flaco part. I don't know if you heard of this crazy story.
No, tell the story, because I remember I was following the story for a little while, and people told me that you had been compromised, and they could tell by the way you were covering the story. I was like, oh shit. They were telling me that you were bought off by the cartel. So I'm dying to hear this.
So basically, so what happened in this story is, it's basically El Chapo's son. I think the walls were already starting to close in on him. because they already got some of his brothers. Obviously, they got the dad, and I think the wall started the closing on him. The U.S. government was coming in, and I think El Chapo's son felt pressure that he needed some type of deal with the U.S. government. Obviously, the U.S. government wants El Mayo. He's basically the equivalent of El Chapo. So they work out some type of deal where El Chapo's son sets up a fake meeting with El Mayo. They'll then kidnap El Mayo, put him on this small plane, and then that plane's gonna cross over into American soil. Basically, it landed in Santa Teresa, New Mexico, which is like right next to El Paso, Texas. So where this plane will fly into American soil, both men will be arrested. El Chapo's son is still gonna be taken into custody, but because he brought El Mayo with him, he would get a deal. And I think what that operation showed me is that U.S. agents couldn't get into Mexico to carry out that operation to kidnap El Chapo's son, like or El Mayo. Like they like I don't know. I'm not a diplomat expert here. Just an immigration guy. I don't know what laws or regulations, but basically, I think those agents can't even step on Mexican soil. So they had to carry out. I guess this kind of secret deal where they had to make a deal with El Chapo's son. This is not for sure, but I think El Chapo's son is probably going to get some type of deal that's favorable to him because he brought him out. And I think that operation to me was an example of uh, that basically Mexico will never allow U.S. authorities to carry out any type of operation on their soil, even if it's taking down one of the biggest crime bosses or whatever. So I don't see how you then take on the Sinaloa cartel if these guys don't even let you step foot in the country. Now, obviously, it could be different with Trump of like you could threaten with tariffs and things like that. Like I said, I know it sounds sexy from Republicans. Like Dan Crenshaw's always like, we're gonna take on the cartels and stuff. Once again, I just don't know how they go into, Mexican soil and carry that out. I'd be glad to be proven wrong. I just don't. I haven't seen a path. Like I said, after I heard Ed's take, this guy's like an expert on all this stuff, way smarter than me. He also did not see a legal way or any type of way where Mexican government was going to allow that to happen.
There was a video you posted that I remember got a ton of attention, and it was, I want to say it was a car running through the border. Does that sound familiar? This is about 6 months or a year ago. It showed a truck. It was like a car chase, and people were trying to figure out which ones were Border Patrol, which ones were Mexican police. There was a firefight maybe between the two. Does that sound familiar? And that's the one where someone sent it to me, and they're like, "Hey, this is just propaganda Jorge's putting out," or something. I wish I could fucking remember. And I remember thinking, "Oh shit, Jorge's twisted up in some crazy shit."
No,
It was
no,
some.
no. I'm trying to remember. I'm not sure of Yeah, I'll have to get the
Oh, so
exact.
Sean says, "I think it was a movie scene."
No, I would not share a movie scene, bro.
I know. I think he's just fucking around.
Yeah,
Yeah,
at first I'm like, you talking about Sicario?
anyway, okay, that's something to watch also.
Yeah,
What happens with the cartels?
it's gonna be fascinating. Like I said, it's just if you're a person who's also just entertained by politics on the news, it's just like how could you also not be entertained right now? I mean, we're about to have
Oh, it's
Trump
great.
come in, media's losing their mind. Um, the dynamics of immigration are about to change. At the end of the day, cartels adapt to everything. I'm curious to see if they're just gonna stop smuggling people. I mean, they're not, but how they're gonna change their tactics. Um, Also, there's just like hundred thousands of migrants that are in Mexico who are like, even with Trump winning, they're like, we're not gonna turn back. Um, so this is just going to be fascinating, man. So yeah, well, I'm gonna like I said, keep covering the issue, and then when I get my next big story, we'll love to come on and everything.
Anytime, buddy. All right, thank you, Jorge Ventura,
Hey,
people,
guys.
and thanks for the plug on the book. I'll be buying that book.
Yes, Riot Diet. Get it, get it, get it.
Thanks, brother. Have a good one.
Thanks, guys.
Jorge Ventura. Yeah, it's going to be an amazing 4 years. 12,000 lobbyists out of jobs in D.C. Man, oh man. Oh, what is this? Who does no rep news? Trump named Sevan Matosian to lead health initiative as director in CrossFit knowledge. Dick. Thank you. Seems appropriate. Seems very appropriate. Thank you. You guys want to see the doctor jacking off on his staff? God, there's so many fun subjects just pouring in. We could talk about the PFAA. Travis, I need a PFAG shirt. PFAG, a president of PFAG. What's it stand for? Professional Fitness Association Guild, or what's my organization? I know. What did PFAG do now? I mean, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. I mean, it's just batshit crazy to me that the PFAA thinks that they have any more authority than PFAG. What does it stand for? Professional. I'm the president of it. Professional Fitness. Can someone remind me what my organization stands for? PFAG, Professional Fitness Athletic Group? Professional Fitness Athletic Group? PGA? Professional? No, it's PFAG. It's Professional Fitness Athlete Group. Thank you. Professional Fitness Athlete Group. Professional Pro Fitness Athlete Group. Like how... Yeah, I need a shirt that says that. How... I don't know how anyone takes them seriously when I have 10 times the more clout, influence, knowledge than all those fucking ding-dongs combined. It's just bizarre to me. Professional fellowship, no, not that. I like gay people. I'm down with the gays. I've been here. I watched Alex Stein have Josh Cedar on, and I got to have Alex on, and he said something about trans people. I was like, dude, who cares? You know, there's something. Do you know what this is? Do you guys know what this is? It's I don't know why I fucking didn't know this. It's this thing that trans people have. Let me see if I can find it in my notes. How I knew that there was something. You guys are gonna just be like, Sebi, how are you so stupid? It's not that I was stupid. It's just I hadn't pieced it together like coherently yet. Please buy that excuse. There's this. This is why you can't have trans people reading to kids in libraries. This is called an autogenophilia. Is a paraphilia or sexual interest in the thought or image of oneself as a woman. It's a concept used to explain some cases of male to female transsexualism and can help clinicians understand their clients. These fucking guys dress up as women because it sexually arouses them. It's not because they're confused of their identity. It's because it fucking sexually arouses them. And then you're letting them perform their sexual arousal in front of your kids? Like, what the fuck is going on? The word is autogynephilia. It's like, as soon as I heard that, I'm like, oh yeah, no shit. As a male's propensity to be sexually aroused by the thought of himself as a female. That's what those fucking dudes are doing. Who knew it was perverted? I know. Just bear with me here. I knew they were confused about their sexuality, but they're up there getting like let's say that's only, I mean, I believe it's 99% true. I believe that. I mean, I wouldn't bet like my kid's life on it or like my car on it, but I believe it's 99% true. But even if it was 5% true, why would you let these people be sexually they're sexually arousing themselves in front of your kids? That's Vittorio. That's not new. If you don't know that, you're a moron. Thank you. Throw me in the moron bucket. No, it's not gay at all. I wish it was gay. It's not gay. Sean Lenderman, if that isn't the daily reason, it started as that. Yeah, another great fucking valid point. Yeah, it all started because you get sexually aroused. I mean, that explains why men do everything. Yeah, it's fucking disgusting, dude. Remember that story? I read to you guys the other day about my buddy who I think I told you this story. My buddy, they're about to do puberty talk at his school, at his kid's school. His kid's fucking 10 or 11 years old. And he sent me this document. You're not even going to believe this. You're not even going to believe this. This is the follow-up to it about what they're going to teach his kids. He's wondering if he can opt his kid out of fucking puberty talk, which has listen to this. Listen to this. I think this is California Health Youth Authority requires that any health instruction provided in grades K through 12 is inclusive of diverse gender and sexual identities. First of all, that's just batshit crazy. That doesn't say anything. What do you mean inclusive? It just needs to say boy and girl, male and female. While parents and guardians have the right to opt their pupil out of all or part of any health instruction, school districts may not facilitate the selective opt-out lessons that are focused on lesbian, gay, bisexual, transsexual, queer, plus content. So you can opt out of all the shit. Yeah, it's total word fuckery. It's total word fuckery. And hey, I don't want to see LGBTQ ever again. It's lesbian, gay, bisexual, transsexual, queer. It's girls who eat other girls' pussies. It's guys who suck other guys' dicks. It's people who suck dick and eat pussy. It's people who cross-dress to be the opposite sex and eat ass. And then there's this one queer. I don't know what that one is. And then there's plus, and that plus to me is pedophiles. It's just anything else. That's it. I'm never going to read the letters again. Fuck the letters. I'm just going to read the whole thing. Pussy on pussy eaters, dick on dick eaters, being able to eat dick and eat pussy, dressing up as the opposite sex, and then pedophiles. That's what the plus is. The plus is pedophiles. It's a mouthful, Sevan, I know. But all these acronyms and all this bullshit, your K through 12 health instruction needs to be inclusive of diverse gender and sexualities. Fuck you for saying nothing to me and trying to manipulate me into fucking having my kids do some weird shit. Just show me hey, how about you just send over the fucking packet of papers and I fucking look at what you're going to fucking teach my kid. You fucking cunts. Puberty talk. How about fuck you? Hey, why do you wear wristbands? Because it's getting cold. Want them to stay warm. Great question. I thought you'd know that by now. Disappoints me, Pat. I thought you had that deep knowledge of the show. Crazy town banana pants. It's not the first time you let me down, Pat. Daniel Brandon trying to get on the PFAA. What do you mean, like fuck Fikowski? She's trying to fuck Fikowski? Let me get on the PFAA. Oh, can we watch the doctor jerk off? Sure. Hey, my buddy told me, I don't know if I should say this. I don't think he listens to the show. Can you imagine letting your kid go to something like that in the fucking 3rd or 4th grade? I should check in with my wife. I don't know what's going on today. What's today? Thursday? Oh, dude, I have another show tonight with Marcus Capone. That one's going to be good too. Okay. I don't feel like working anymore. I just feel like hanging out with you guys. I'm fucking kind of over the show. Tired of fucking dancing up here. Northeast Arkansas doctor license has been suspended after allegations he performed a sex act with a staff member as other staff watched. Why is it always guys? Diff 9 operates 3 family practice clinics in Blytheville, Paragould, and Bono, according to his website. The medical board says it received a complaint on July 17th that Definey engaged in sexual contact with the staff who are also his patients and sexually harassed those staff members. The complaint was accompanied by a video from a security camera inside the clinic that allegedly showed Dr. Definey, performing a sexual act with a staff member while other staff members were present and watching. The video also shows Definey walking through the clinic naked, the record states. You guys are not going to believe the video I'm about to show you. You are not going to you are not going to believe. Hey, Jesus, Tank, do you know when you write stuff like that, everyone just thinks you're crazy? Like, it's so passive aggressive, dude. Just write in the comments. My name is Tank Reeves. I am a fucking anti-Semite and hate fucking kikes. I wish all Jews burned in hell. I don't acknowledge Israel as a country. Just write it out, dude. Don't make us read through all the shit. Wow, I'm surprised you like Gates. Yeah, Gates is hardcore. Don't make us read into shit. Plus, we're on jacking off in public right now. Men. Goddamn men. You guys want to see this video? You're not even gonna. You're gonna have so many questions. This doesn't even make sense. You know, the takeaway from this is that this office is really diverse because there's men and women and there's black people and there's white people. That was my takeaway. Imagine being a libtard. It's good for your son. This is a man with a baseball cap. Looks like he's masturbating in a doctor's, like, you know, like when you go to a doctor and they have that window and there's those people who sit behind it with the reception desk, right? It looks like he's masturbating on. Now, I can't tell for sure because I can't see his penis, but it looks like he's masturbating on one of his workers. Now, look, those women just walked in. This black woman and this white woman just walked in. And they're wearing like the doctor's gear and shit.
I have on a white shirt. It's not bad. You fucking ass. It looks like boogers.
Boogers?
She goes, it looks like boogers. And then the black lady throws her a napkin.
Is it in your bra? It looks like he's a little dehydrated.
It looks like he's a little dehydrated.
My bra. Why put that?
Make your brother away.
Here you go. Drop it off your bra.
Y'all so helping her out with that.
You damn straight. Hold it together.
He said something like, the doctor said something to her, like, you guys are actually going to help her with that or something. And the black lady says, you damn straight, us hoes stick together.
Unlike you missed one. No! You need another one? Oh my God! I got a bra in the floor of my car. You want it? Henry gave it to me. I want it back. I ain't ordered. You want the bra in my car? I don't even know it.
Yeah, Heidi's right. I saw something that Heidi wrote. I didn't look closely at it, but Heidi's right. He must be giving them drugs. There must be something going on there. It's a sperm bank. God, that would be amazing if it was. This dude's got to be having a breakdown. Dude, what if you're fucking the husband of one of those women? I know. That's the thing. Like, if you can think of it, it's happening. Who would have ever thought that a doctor jerks off in a reception office and the other ladies just walk around and work like it's nothing happening? How did you get to that level of comfortability? When did it cross the line? Like, when did it cross? Like, if you'd been like, "Excuse me, Janet, can you come to the bathroom? I want to jack off on you." Everyone would be like, "All right, your turn, Janet. Go in there. The doctor wants to jack off on you." How did it become to the point? How did it cross that line to where he just does it in front of all the staff? It's like, those things that you do with your wife where you cross the line, like, all of a sudden one day, like, you're dating a girl, and the next day, there reaches a point where you shit with the door open, or you pick your nose in front of them, or, you use their toothbrush. But but where does it come? It never reaches the point where you're, like, jerking off in the front yard with your wife. I mean, I don't think so. Like, how did it get to this? How did it get to this? I understand. I totally understand, Tank. You draw the line. I totally get it. I totally get it. If someone, let's say, I don't know if you're married or not. Let's say someone killed your girlfriend, and they ran into a crowd, and they started killing people in the crowd. You would just sit there and chill and not do anything, and you had a gun, because you'd be afraid you'd hit someone in the crowd. And then at the second time it happened, you'd still let it happen. And after you've had 20 girlfriends killed, you still would sit there and not shoot the guy as he ran into the crowd. I get it. That's where you draw the line. I get it. There's another group of people that after their 20th girlfriend has been killed by the same guy, when he runs away and there's only 4 people in the fucking crowd, they realize, well, I'm going to have to take the risk and shoot this guy, because he's already killed 20 people, and 16 of those deaths are on me, because I could have killed this guy and the 4 innocent people instead of letting him come back and kill more people. I get it. It's fucking math. I get it. I totally get it. And then you've got it conflated with all these other social things. But at the end of the day, it comes to math, and you're a defund the police guy. You're like, 2 police were bad to black guys, so now it's defund the police, and then 1,000 black guys die when only 2 should have died. But you stood on what's right and logical. Blah, blah. I get it. I get it. I totally understand your point. You totally, I appreciate your conviction. I appreciate your conviction. But the way you couch it is that you hate Jews. Because because at the end of the day, that's how you're categorizing people by their ethnicity constantly, and you use these words like Zionist, and you're just lost in the fucking matrix. I get it, dude. I fully understand. You're a mathematician. I get it. I get it. It's okay. Okay, where were we? Yeah. How do you get to the point where you opioids in a small southern town? Wow. Paging Dr. Jackoff. Has to be more to this story. Yeah. 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 Yeah, you have Jewish friends. Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. Like, even here, your wording, dude, they're not indiscriminately killing civilians. What, hold on. Before I argue that, let me look up indiscriminately. Indiscriminately. In a random manner. No, they're not that's the thing. They're not indiscriminately killing civilians. I don't believe so. Maybe you know something I don't know, but I think that they're trying to kill the bad guys, and some good guys in the crowd are getting smoked. I get it. Oh, you can call in anytime. Here, you can call in anytime you want. Oh, maybe you did call. Someone called. Let me reconnect this thing. I'd also like to hear your insights, Tank, on how it got to where the doctor thought he could jack off on the staff in the reception area. All right. All right. I don't know what to do now. Show's over. I'm gonna wait till Tank calls and then make the show be over. My mind is blown by that video. Yeah, you think I'm gonna get a strike for that video? I hope not. I really hope not. Mr. Reeves. Hello. I'm all ears.
There he is. How you doing?
Good. How are you, brother?
I'm not too bad. I'm not too bad.
Tell me about your hatred of the Jews.
That's not true at all.
Okay.
That's not true at all. You're conflating right now.
Okay. Unconflate me. I love being unconflated.
Well, what do you want to know? Well, like, what do you want to know? I mean, I don't understand how you don't see the indiscriminate bombing. I mean, at the beginning of this whole thing, they said there was 2,000 Hamas, 1,000 Palestinians.
At the beginning, they said what? At the beginning, they said there were only 2,000 Hamas people, and now they're claiming they've killed 20,000. Where did they get those other 18,000?
No, 60,000. They've literally had the Palestinian people running from one side of Gaza to another and bombing the sides that they run to. And I know you're going to say, why doesn't anybody else want them? But every single border is blockaded by the IDF. Where do they go? That's all I'm saying now. Where do they go?
So you're
Explain
saying
that to me, and then I'll be...
You're saying that there's 2 million people. How many people live in Gaza? 2 million?
About that.
Pardon me?
Yeah, about that, yeah.
Okay, so there's 2 million in Gaza, and you say 60,000 have been killed.
That's being light too. That's from Haaretz. So that's a publication from Israel out of Tel Aviv. So it's probably a lot more than that.
And what do you suggest the solution is?
2 states.
Hasn't it been like that?
Well, no, it's not. It's an open air prison, man. I mean, I literally have my best friend's wife is Palestinian. She moved here about 10 years ago, and if you sat down with her for 10 minutes, you'd see that this has been a ongoing onslaught for 30, 40, 50 years. This isn't anything new, and it's got nothing to do with the Jews. It's got everything to do with the current Netanyahu regime and the Israeli expansionism that they want to create.
Yeah.
The one that Trump heavily supports.
Yeah, I think that they should push all those people out and take that land.
Sorry, say that again?
I think they should push all of those people out and take that land.
Why? Why is that? Why do you feel that way?
Because I think that enough is enough. The violence there, the back and forth, enough is enough. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. I think it's a net win for everyone. But let me share this with you. I have a friend also who goes back and forth from the United States to Palestine. They are very wealthy. They're Palestinians here. They own 6 businesses in my town, and he's prior to this shit going down, he was building basically a fucking compound there.
Okay.
And so when I hear it's called an open air prison, but he goes back twice a year, and he brings he has all his family work at all of his businesses, and he's brought all of these people here one by one, the same way my relatives did, and yet he's sending money back to build a compound there. I know it's possible. And then when I see the things,
are you talking Gaza or the West Bank? Because there's 2 parts of Palestine.
Oh, that's
the West Bank is.
Go ahead.
Like it's totally different. And when you say to push these people out, and I mean that's essentially. So okay,
I think they should steal the land. I think they should steal the land, commandeer the land. I don't think once you attack Israel the way you did, you can stay there. I think and once you have facts like 86% of the people there want Israel to die, all Jews to die, or when you ask people, here's the question. Let me ask you this real quick, Tank.
Where are you getting these polls, though? Where are you getting these polls? Like, where is this coming from? Where's this information coming from? I'm not trying to be that like libtard that's saying, "Oh, where's your facts?" But like, I don't believe that one bit.
Okay,
and
that's you don't believe You don't believe
Then why
that
doesn't Ukraine just hightail it? Why doesn't Ukraine just hightail it out to Poland and fuck off and let the Russians have the land?
It's a little bit of a different scenario there.
Okay, why is that? They're both getting forced out of their land, and
you have this ongoing.
I don't know.
You have this ongoing conflict with this tiny piece of land. I pulled up the map. That's Gaza, right? With this tiny piece of land.
Yeah.
And by the way, you might be right. I need to ask him about where he's building that. I don't know if it was the West Bank or Gaza. I assumed it was Gaza, and I don't know, and I apologize for that. But you have this tiny piece of land here, this Gaza Strip, with a questionable history, and it's surrounded by this tiny little country, Israel, and then all around it you have people who are better assimilated to the lifestyle and culture of those people that are in Gaza. And yet this strip of Gaza has been used as a launching ground to fight this country of Israel for, what did you say, 50 years, 60 years?
It's a lot longer than that, but I mean, we could really reach into the weeds, but the thing is, Savon, there's no way for them to leave. They're not even letting humanitarian trucks in, man.
Let me throw let me throw this out there too. If the people of Jordan put their guns down, and Egypt put their guns down, and Lebanon put their guns down, and Syria put their guns down, do you think Israel would march into those countries and take their land?
They're marching into Lebanon. They've been in Syria. They're in Libya. They're constantly bombing Damascus on a daily basis. I don't know what you're asking.
I'm basically making the point of the inversion. If the Israelis let their guard down for a second, there is a cohort of people there that's very large that wants to fucking that wants to kill everyone in Israel. The country of Iran, it's part of their charter. Hamas, it's part of their charter. Hezbollah, it's part of their charter to fucking eliminate the Jews in Israel. And so when you say a two-state solution, I'm just like, what are you talking about? These people, they don't want a two-state solution. They want to kill fucking the Jews.
No, they've wanted a two-state solution a lot, and they've even this whole ceasefire thing's been a joke too. Netanyahu wants nothing to do with any ceasefire. He wants Israel expansion. And since when are we okay with expansionism? I mean, we could go back to World War II and what Hitler did, because it's pretty damn close.
I think that I think if you want, what would you like to see at the end? Would you like to see peace, or would you like to see what's done right, or would you like both?
I'd like peace today, right now. There's no diplomatic talks. It's the same as in Russia and Ukraine. There's nobody talking diplomacy. Nobody wants to sit down at the table and negotiate. Every article we read about negotiations is absolute bullshit. They've never sat down at the table. They just killed Yahya Sinwar. I mean, they have nobody to sit down with. They're doing the same to your country, Lebanon, right now. They're bombing the shit out of Beirut,
which has always been a stronghold for Hezbollah, which is a terrorist arm of the Iranian government. Would you agree with that?
That I would agree, yeah. But I would also say that, you know, like you take ISIS for example. How much is being funded by the CIA? How much of Hezbollah?
I don't know.
We know for a fact. We know for a fact that Hamas was funded by Netanyahu himself. It's in Haaretz.
Oh, I'm sure that there's money. I'm sure that there's been psyops and fundings going, tons of stuff like that. I mean, clearly there's a ton of funding if they had people on the inside close enough to do the cell phone debacle.
Yeah. I mean, that was insane. I mean, the fact that they're able to do something like that. I mean, the article that came out after that was that it took 15 years to create that whole cell phone thing. 15 years. So does that not put any adage on the fact that October 7th may have been part of that process? I mean, they needed a springboard for this all to start, right? They're looking for a war with Iran. That's the goal.
Oh, you mean to attack their why would they want to do that? To attack their nuclear facilities?
They want full control over the Middle East. It's not just Israel. It's obviously the U.S. But if you look at any of these UN...
When you say control of the Middle East, you mean they want their oil? Everyone wants their oil? Is that what you mean?
I don't know if it's oil. I don't know what it is, Savon. I mean,
it's not the people. No one wants the land or the people. It's got to be something. If you're going to say they want control of the Middle East, they must want something. Either removal of nuclear weapons or gas.
Yeah, I mean, it's, if you look at Occam's razor, obviously the easiest option there would be the oil, right? It would be controlling the oil. And they know that with BRICS, BRICS kind of starting to really take off, and they're obviously Iran is part of that now, and Saudi Arabia. It's dangerous there's obviously a massive decoupling right now, and a multipolar world being built, right? I mean, it's this unipolar hegemony that the U.S. has had. It's being shattered, and it started with Ukraine.
Hey, do you have kids?
I have 3 kids.
Oh, or if you lived in Gaza with your family, what would you do?
Well, considering there's no way to get out, I would fight. They're starving, Savon. I mean, we're talking about people that are starving to death. What are they supposed to do? I just don't understand why people can't see that. And it's got nothing to do with the Netanyahu regime wants it to be about the Jews. It's not about the Jews at all. It's about this regime that's in there right now that wants nothing more than destruction.
Well, let me say this, just to be clear. You believe that October 7th was a psyop, correct?
I don't think it was a psyop. It definitely happened.
But I mean,
I think there was collateral.
You think it was organized by the Israeli government or the Mossad in order to start a war? Or at least if you don't believe that, you think that there's evidence that makes that as something that is very, very possible.
I mean, we'll find out. Netanyahu's up for trial in December. They're talking about pushing the date off, but he's up for trial in December, and a lot of this stuff's going to come out. So, I mean, it's going to be honestly for the Hague to decide. And I think he'll see his maker. So yeah, I mean, I think it was partly a Mossad op. I don't know, because I will say one thing about the IDF and the Mossad is they're very good at what they do. They're very good at keeping things hidden, just like the CIA.
All right, thank you. Fair. All right.
Savon, I have hope for Trump. Okay, too. Like I'm definitely not like I never take sides when it comes to politics, because they're all in it for themselves. They're all being paid by massive lobby groups. I mean, Trump, obviously Adelson being the number one at $100 million. That's scary, because I just don't want your kids to have to go fight in a war that really is not going to benefit the U.S. at all.
Miriam Adelson gives $100 million to Trump campaign, making good on reported pledge. Gift from prolific pro-Israel donors, the largest amongst new batch of major spending disclosures. Eclipses $75 million that Elon Musk recently gave. Miriam Adelson has delivered on a pledge she reportedly made at the start of the general election, donating $100 million to the campaign committee supporting the candidacy of Donald Trump. The money was distributed to Adelson's super PAC, Preserve America, which she had seeded earlier this year with $55 million in a series of installments, $25 million a month in July. Hey, how did she make her money? Do you know?
I have no idea. I mean, probably Sheldon Adelson, I think, was her husband who made a ton of money. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't go too far into the weeds on that stuff. I just
listen to this.
I just know that
she's worth $35 billion.
I believe it. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
But I do think there's some good things to come out of the Trump election or nomination, whatever you want to call it, him being the president, whatever that's worth. I do think there's some good things for the U.S. immediately, but for him only having 4 years, he's not going to be able to get a lot done.
You think Vance will be president after him?
No. No, I don't.
Do you think you and I will?
I think it'll flip back to the Dems, man. Unfortunately, because I think a lot of things optically that Trump wants to do is going to be. I'm all for deportation, but I think it's going to look very bad optically, and I think the media will run with that. So,
you think you and I will still talk in 4 years?
oh hell yeah, man! Simon, I like you, man. I really do. I'm not trying to get like. I'm just trying to put some nuance around what's going on over there in the Middle East. I still watch you religiously, dude. Like I'm not.
I wasn't.
It is what it is.
By the way,
I wasn't. Difference of opinion.
I wasn't suggesting that. I wasn't suggesting because we would have a falling out or not. I was just suggesting that in the sense that, like, I think Vance will be president, so it'll be cool in 4 years to talk to stay in contact and like, and seeing how it plays out. Hey, I will say this: we both agree that it sucks that it sucks to see people killed by the war machine. Like if I was there, I'm sure I couldn't stomach it. I watched a documentary yesterday about soldiers who were injured, and I cried like 20 times. So I'm not by no means do I need to present like a tough guy and think that I could stomach any of the killing and the hurting of children and all the starvation. And so I'm not like, I don't think like you're barking up some sort of tree where it's like, Jesus Christ, Tank, just let them fucking kill those bastards. Like you're fighting the good fight. Obviously, you obviously care about fucking human life. So respect you for that.
Well, and you know that I'm from Canada. I mean, we're fucked up here. So it's a rough way up here.
All right, brother. Thanks for calling. I appreciate you.
Take care of yourself, Swan.
All right. Bye.
Bye, guys.
There we go. Making friends every day. I DM with Pat a lot. I don't think the kind of DMing we do a lot of people could stomach. Like we fight and make up and fight and make up and fight and make up, and it gets intense. But I do enjoy them. Or else there's some people that are just assholes to me in the DMs, and I just don't open them. It's not like that with Tank. All right. Okay, we saw the doctor. Yeah, feel free. Let's process the doctor jacking off in the office and come back to that. I think I don't usually. I need to talk to my wife about that, and like maybe I need to send her that and ask her what the fuck's going on. I signed up for an 11 a.m. class, and I'll be available to take the kids to their afternoon activities. Oh, sweet. Okay, sweet. I signed my kids up for a jiu-jitsu tournament, and they put the kids in the same on the same side of the bracket. I'm not taking my kids to a fucking jiu-jitsu tournament where they're going to be on the same side of the bracket. There's no fucking way. I'm not taking them somewhere to fight each other. Unless they both make it to the finals, which they will. I'm not fucking putting them on the same side of the bracket. That's fucking insane. I'm actually going to I'm going to email them now. BJJ. Thank you for registering. What's the date on this? No. Shit. How do I find the tournament registration? I'll just type in the word reg and see if it pops up, right? I'm not being unrealistic, right? You can't have you can't. My name is Haley Matosian and my sons Joseph and Ari are competing on Saturday in Pee Wee 2. Great bet later. If you could please assist us move to other sides of the bracket. Oh, we are going to take care of this. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, sweet. They're going to take care of it. Oh, that's cool. All right. Shit, my wife already did it 12 minutes ago. She's a bad bitch, my wife. She gets on that shit. Last night, I sat in my chair and I would, in the living room like an old man. And I'm like going through my notes for the Jorge Ventura interview. And she's like, did you mean it? Did you mean it when, hi Tank, did you mean it when, oh yeah, the lioness thing. Did you mean it when you said I would? Thank you, Kyle. I was totally lost for a second. Did you mean it when you said that? Well, I don't even remember what the fuck I said, but it had something to do with that Ezekiel thing. What the fuck? I I was like, yeah. What do you mean? Did I mean it? I mean it. The fuck? Told her to shut up and bring me a steak. Oh, what if they reach the final? I'll let them fight. I would prefer they wouldn't. It's happened a couple times now in tournaments. I prefer, but definitely. So they do gi first. In gi, I would prefer they didn't fight. And then in no gi, I would let them fight because I don't want them to tire themselves. Plus, I don't want other people to watch them fight. Yeah, I don't know. You got to let them go. I don't know. I gotta pee. I have so many fun things I want to show you guys, but I have to pee really bad, and I feel like I should pick my nose. I got some crazy shit in there. Hard work 4B. You guys saw Kamala spent she paid Beyonce $10 million to speak for 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Here, let me play this. This is good. We deserve this. This is good. I know you guys like this guy. Okay. Here we go.
Learned that if you're Muslim and you die for your faith, which is the highest honor, in paradise you're rewarded with 72 virgins. I'd be like the only guy in Muslim heaven that's like, excuse me, can I trade my 72 virgins for 2 whores? Initially, I was very excited about the 72 virgins. Just on pure volume, have you ever seen 72? It's a lot of gal. But I've been talking to some of these women, and I don't think it's going to work out. These virgins. It's like a Taylor Swift concert back here. I can't work with this. These virgins don't know their way around a cock. I think 72 just for 2 is a good trade. You must have 2 whores back there, Allah. Why is Allah so generous with his virgins and so stingy with the whores? Like, give me one of those skanky Muslim gals that showed her hair in the courtyard. Give me one of those gals. One of those gals with all the rock bruises on her. I learned that if you're Muslim and you die for your...
What a great line at the end, right? Nothing hard hitting, just a subtle, just ass pounding of how ridiculous it is. Right, you know what? I had the Sarah Cox's bodyguard trains with the Rotolo brothers and their agent, and like he's all dialed in. And he he connected me to their agent. I need to, and I tried to get them, what was that guy's name? Fuck. Shit. I gotta call Paul really quick. Let me see if I can, Paul. I have him in here. It literally says Paul, Sarah Cox's bodyguard. Hey, dude.
What up, Bobby?
Hey, do you remember when you hooked me up with the Rotolo brothers agent?
Yeah, Sean Ward.
Oh,
I'll be with him this afternoon.
okay. Hey, I'm gonna text him again today.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna text him now with you on that text thread and just be like, "Hey, just checking in."
Okay, done. And
hey,
I'll see him in like 2 hours.
Okay,
make sure.
And I'll even take him if I can't get the Rotolo brothers. I'll even take him. I'd love to talk to him too.
I can make the bros. Yeah, I'll be with their dad. I'll be with the whole crew. So just
oh my god, dude! I'd love to have their dad on the podcast. That would be insane.
Shoot a text. I'll follow it all up. I'll contact you today too.
Okay, thanks, dude.
Better homes.
Bye. There you go, Sean Ward. Let me see. Do I have? Jesus Christ, I don't have his. Maybe I'm spelling his name wrong. You think it's SH? Fuck, I can't find it. God damn it. Damn. How would I search that? I was looking at my contacts. I'll type in Paul. And then go to see all messages. Damn. I can't find the fucking thread. Sean. God, the search on fucking text is ass. Sean. $9.24. Sean, son of a bitch. I can't forget this. I cannot forget this. I would really like to have the Rotolo brothers on. Or their dad. Oh. Is that it? Nope. That was Sean Rocket. Son of a bitch. I have to drop a deuce. I could play a commercial and try to drop a deuce. It's weird. It's weird to have to drop a deuce during a show. Damn it. All right. A 2-minute poop, that's risky. No, I'm already prairie dogging. A doctor put her finger in my ass this morning. It's not fun, as Clock says. It's a doctor put. Oh, her? You had her doctor do it? Wow. That's kind of crazy. Oh shit, this is crazy. Oh shit, I haven't vetted this. I don't know how this is going to turn out, but let me read this. In this week's Going Through It advice column, my daughter's NYC public school teacher supports Trump. She can think whatever she wants, but she can't force those beliefs on my kids. Hey, can you tell me like what Republicans believe? Like, I know liberals believe shit. I can't think of stuff that Republicans believe. Republicans know stuff. You know what I mean? Like there's no Republican, at least I don't know any. There's no Republican who's like, yeah, that baby's growing in your body. You know what I mean? But there's no Democrats who are like, yeah, I killed a baby. Like they believe. Oh, there you go. There's one. They believe in God. Good, solid. Yeah. Believe. You don't have to believe that. You don't have to believe that when people cross the border illegally that they've done something illegal. I mean, you have to suspend. You know, you have to believe in the, I guess, in the law that says it's illegal. You have to believe in the Constitution, some deep premises. I guess down there somewhere there is, you know, some belief, some foundational belief of some a mechanism that we're all building off of, a platform, a foundation of belief to try to organize the chaos that is our humanity. You believe that, you know, we have unalienable rights. You believe that we have freedom of speech, and then from there, like, you know, within that construct, there's stuff we know. But that is, now that I think about that, I wish the Dems would just say it, like, hey, we don't believe in freedom of speech. We want to change that. I wish they would just say that instead of saying dumb shit like we have to stop hate speech and it's like out here in the fucking ether. Why not just change, like, go down to the fucking root of where we all have built this imaginary world on top of, and just be like, no, I don't think and then, you know what we could do? We could be like, dude, we have a spot for you. Russia, China. Dude, you want to do that experiment on civilization? Dude, you're so lucky. We have China. Do you think capitalism is real though? Do you think that I think that believe it or not, I think that there's solid argument that capitalism is very close to real. Bringing things to market in order to get other things. You know what I mean? So like you live in a cave and you bring to market warmth and food, and so you get pussy. You know what I mean? Capitalism is an idea. It's an idea that you. I mean, I'm not saying it's real, like as in like this thing is real, but you can see the profound effects that it has when you practice it immediately. Crazy profound effects. I'd say capitalism is more real than racism. I mean, racism is just complete. The fact that anyone still believes that there's racism to me is fucking mind-boggling. And I know all the people, 99% of the people who believe in it can't even fucking define it, and that's why they think it's real. Now, don't get me wrong. I could write a racist policy down on a piece of paper, and that piece of paper with the racist policy it's there. It's there. You know what I mean? You could put racist policies into action, but to say, like, even if someone were to claim that they fucking hated black people and wore a fucking hood and a swastika and they killed 1,000 Jews and had 400 slaves, like, it's still not real. It's still fucking completely fucking made up, and someone's operating on some made up fucking bullshit. That's why you can't be charged. You can't be charged with calling someone racist, lying about their racism. But you can't be charged if you called someone racist. But you can be charged if you call someone a rapist. If you accuse someone of being a rapist, I think that you can get defamation and all sorts of weird shit around it. Capitalism is broken now, just like the American manufacturing after NAFTA. I mean, the thing with capitalism is I think that everywhere, even in communist, like, it's always operating. I think it's like how we operate as humans. As men, that's just how we operate. It's just our natural state. We're just constantly bringing things to market in order to get new things. Like, so even within, I know you're talking as a structure for civilization, but I think capitalism is really, really deep rooted in the human psychology. I think it's fucking more relevant than Freud. And if you want to hear about that shit, listen to that book, or read that book that Greg was suggesting. What's it called? It's basically all artistry. Everything comes from just that mindset we have as humans, especially as men. I don't know. I can't speak on behalf of women. What is it? Wealth and this book I'm listening to. How do I get to my books? Oh, Wealth and Poverty. Wealth and Poverty by George Gilder. I don't think Tank was saying that capitalism doesn't give back. Did he say that somewhere? No, in capitalist, where there's true capitalism, there's the most generosity by far. It's crazy generosity. It's only when you put it's the lack of generosity. You can see it in all the countries where they fucking put a pinch on resources and try to control the people. You trust the people, and the people become trustworthy. Okay, here we go. Back to this. This is fucking unprecedented. A teacher that actually likes Trump. I'm struggling with how to respond to a recent incident in my daughter's New York City public school. When I came home from work on Wednesday, the day after the election, she rushed me at the door to tell me about what happened at school that day. Not a typical teenage behavior. English teacher made all the students in the class watch Trump's acceptance speech and take notes on his values and asked them to pay particular attention to how positive the crowd responded during the speech. God, that happened like in one school. That's crazy. Although the teacher didn't say anything directly how she voted, my daughter says she knows Trump supporter. She's a known Trump supporter at the school, so I can only assume her intention was to some way promote his ideas. When my daughter and many of the other students voiced their objection and said they had found the exercise upsetting, and the teacher said it was her lesson and she would teach the class the way she wanted, they had to do the assignment. One brave student got up and left the room. I'm torn about whether I should bring this up with the school. Our daughter just started there this fall, and so far we've only had a positive experience. Wow, imagine. This person writes, I don't like Trump and didn't vote for him, but watching a president-elect's acceptance speech and taking notes on it is pretty par for the course. Some guy wrote, oh, now you're worried about what's forced on children and how ironic. Yeah, that's good. Let me see the replies on this. Oh, my goodness. Dude, I know dozens of teachers in my state that are Trumpers. It's not a rare thing. Listen, you don't even know a dozen teachers. Pipe down. You don't even know one teacher, dude, in your state. Go mow a lawn or something, for fuck's sake. Dozen teachers. Listen, Tank or Pat, isn't it like 87% of all fucking educators are libtards? You settle down over there. This is the kind of stuff that's just unfucking believable to me.
Everyone's running away from Harris, and why wouldn't they? She burned them for $1 billion and wasn't even close. Her campaign looks like one big fat money laundering operation. She was shaking down billionaires to pay millionaires. Just weeks before Kamala did an interview with Al Sharpton, the Harris campaign donated $500,000 to Reverend's nonprofit. That's according to the Free Beacon. Why is Kamala's presidential campaign funneling $500,000 to the National Action Network right before an interview with Al? Why is a political campaign bribing Al Sharpton with charitable donations? Do you know what Al Sharpton does with money from his nonprofit? The Rev in 1 year spent $1 million on private jets and limos. It's a slush fund for the Reverend and his crew.
You donated money to the Democratic Party so that they could pay half of Reverend Al Sharpton's $1 million private jet and limo fees. Do you know how hard it is to spend $1 million on private jets? I'm going to tell you something. You can get a really nice private jet, really nice, in the air for $3,000 an hour. Okay? So let's figure that out. You can get a really nice private jet in the air for $3,000. So you take one. Oh shit! Where's my calculator? You take 1 million. Oh, that's 10,000. That's 100,000. That's million. And divide it by 3,000. That's 333 hours in the air on an amazing fucking really nice private jet. Like really nice, like a fucking, 11-seater, 15-seater. Just think about that. That's basically he's in the air every day on a private jet. That's for 3 hours a day. That's 150 flights back and forth across the United States. And you donated money to the Kamala Harris campaign, so fucking Reverend Al Sharpton. She paid $1 million to fucking Oprah, $10 million to Beyonce for 4 minutes. She paid $1 million for Beyonce to to Oprah to interview her. Like, aren't these like just massive red flags? It's crazy. Why do you keep playing Jesse Waters? I love Jesse Waters. He's dope. He's cool. He's cool. That's my boy. Jesse. Big Jess. Big Jesse. All right. We played the Oh, did I show you guys this? This is crazy. This is fucking nuts. This shit really bothers me. Sunday with Grandpa. It's Trump with his granddaughter. Okay. That's cool. She's cool. There she is. Coupled Trump and adopted Uncle Elon. Okay, cool. All right. This is fucking nuts. Is that really our president? You cannot let a 15-year-old girl swing a stick this close to the president of the United States. Are you out of your fucking mind? How is this possible? No. Look at that. No. You do not let someone swing a stick by, like, it's just fucking idiocy. Listen, listen, Vittorio, one slip of that club and the whole fucking free world's gone. You kidding me? Sevi, my mom wants to know if you're coming for Thanksgiving. Yeah, I am. Tell her I'm coming. Send me the address. I'll bring my family. This is crazy. Fucking nuts, dude. And Elon's kid better have a wiffle ball. No little kid should be able to have a projectile like that near the president. Hey, is that bad that all the grass is torn out there? Does that mean she sucks? Wait, are those even real balls? Those look like wiffle balls. Is that bad when the grass is torn up? Does that mean you're an ass golfer? I mean, she looks like she knows what she's doing to me. Fuck, what do I know? Look the way who stacks the balls like that? Does a machine do that? Who stacked all those balls like that? Is that how the rich do it? Anyway. No, that means she's good. Oh, it does? Okay. Dude got shot in the head, but Sevi's afraid of him golfing. Not him golfing, a fucking girl swinging a stick next to him. Don't be confused by the words. Yeah, look at even Troy knows she could shank one and fucking hurt the prez. Dude, let me tell you, Donald's on his fucking last leg. I'd be surprised if he makes it through fucking office, dude. If a golf ball bounce off of that dude's hip, he's toast. Dude, when that dude is like on, we're gonna watch that dude get really old right now in office. Like he's gonna be in one of those. He'll probably be in a chair by the time he is done. Oh, you don't. Tank doesn't even believe he was shot. Hiller doesn't believe he was shot either. Caitlin Clark shanked the fuck out of a ball right into the crowd. She's a basketball player? Send me his number again so I can look it up in my phone. Sorry. God, I'm such a douche. God, I'm such a douche. I'm so fucking unorganized sometimes. Oh, Rogan did you don't think Rogan believed he was shot? Rogan didn't believe him? No, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, dude. My mom doesn't believe he got shot too. Did you hear about the guy who killed his family because Trump won? He's afraid of all the religious people. This is just nuts.
His stories start to go viral over the weekend and honestly had such a hard time even discerning what to say about it. The fear-mongering of the media has driven people so far off the cliff that people feel the need not only to end their own life, but in this case, to end the life of your wife and children because of the results of a presidential election. Anthony Nephew, 45 years old, specifically cited in his own social media posts that his own mental health was at an all-time low.
Yeah, no shit. Everyone on the left, your fucking mental health is at an all-time low. At all times, that's where you live.
Largely because of what he believed about religious people and how that could coincide with a Trump presidency. Tell me this doesn't sound like regurgitated talking points from CNN or MSNBC. My mental health and the world can no longer peacefully coexist, and a lot of the reason is religion. I am terrified of religious zealots inflicting their misguided beliefs on me and my family. I have intrusive thoughts of being burned at the stake as a witch or being crucified on a burning cross. If anything, I hope this election is
Jesus criminy. Chalk that up. Another false claim I'll make, but I'm comfortable making it. No, if Kamala would have won, no fucking Trump supporter would have fucking killed themselves. Jesus criminy. This is, I think, VNDK8.com, vindicate.com. Get your CEO shirt now. Check this out. I think this is Caitlin Clark. Just a reminder that Caitlin Clark is mortal. She's an absolute delight to follow, talking with fans, making jokes, and having a good time. Okay, here we go. Dude, why would these people be standing so close? This is just idiocy. Fucking A, someone's going to lose a tooth. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, my God. Oh, my God, dude. That's insane, dude. Guys, look, I'm going to try to pause it. Look at, there's the ball going right into the crowd. This is it's a pro-am. That's how it works. It's a pro-tarded. It's a fucking crazy. Oh my god, dude. Dude, if that would have hit, if that would hits Trump on the forehead, he's dead. This is crazy. And then people laugh. Someone almost got killed. How does she hit again? She should just fucking be like, I'm done. It's too risky. Oh, people are fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And I bet you these are Republicans too. The dumbest Republicans in the world must be the ones that play golf fans. Jesus Christ almighty. What a bunch of fucking idiots. Those are the same Republicans that still send their kids to public school, you fucking morons. Can't fucking believe you guys. The fuck is wrong with you? No judgment zone. I played golf once. I snuck onto a golf course. I think I was like 15 with my buddy. I had to use a putter the entire time. He just gave me one club. Man, Republicans, the dumbest sport in the world, dumbest fans in the world. Fucking insane. Absolutely nuts. I guess they don't. I guess at least they're not going to kill their kids if Kamala wins. I guess that's a win. All right. Everyone knows if you go to a one club golf. Oh, I would like to do that. I would like to go to one of those golf places where you just get to go up on the second floor and hit balls and drink and eat nachos. I would love that. Yeah, WNBA fans. God, yeah, that's probably the equivalent. Oh no, that's worse. God, I bet you of all the sporting events in the world, WNBA fans have the largest number of boosters. It's got to be, right? Highest number of boosters per capita. I'm gonna type in golfing deaths. Golfing deaths. Nothing good. No golfing deaths. Worst golf accident. Oh, 5 most dangerous golf courting accidents. Golf. Look at this. Look at this photo. Virginia Water, England, September 14th. Tom McKibben of Northern Ireland checks on a spectator after he was struck by a ball on the 4th hole, day 1 of the BMW PGA Championships at Wentworth Golf Club on September 14th, 2023 in Virginia Water, England. It's fucking only hitting the chest. What a pussy. Here's I guess an animal came on the golf course, flipping a golf cart. A golf cart is a tool, not a toy, capable of speeds of 20 plus miles per hour. The seatbelt-free ride can turn from fun to fraught if the driver is not careful. Go-kart style racing can be tempting but dangerous. In 2016, 4-time PGA Tour winner Kevin Kisner was temporarily suspended from his home Palmetto Golf Club in Aiken, South Carolina, for racing golf carts down a hill at the Venerable Club. In a video produced by Vice Sports, that's a slap on the wrist compared to the painful endings other golf cart hijinks have had. Fist fights. Fuck golf. I spent too much time on golf right there. Yeah, I agree. That dude's a pussy. Get up. Oh, when is the Tyson Paul fight? When is that? I haven't watched any. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna soon as God, who do I have Marcus Capone on the show tonight, and who do I have Friday? Please no on Friday. Oh, Will Roosh. Oh, that should be easy. I have so much fighting shit to catch up on. By the way, we got a Born Primitive sponsoring Kill Taylor this weekend, and then we got sponsors for the 2 weeks after that, and then I think December might be a big month. The prize money could get pretty high here this weekend. On Saturday, the prize money is $1,500. Taylor says there's no fucking way anyone's gonna win it, but the prize money might start going up $1,000 a week here soon. Let me see, when is the Mike Tyson, Jake Paul date and time, fight schedule, where to watch? God, it would be awesome if it doesn't compete with the bout between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul is set for Friday, November 15th. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Oh, should we do a fight party? Watch the fight? Do you guys want to do that? That would be crazy. I'd do a fight party. Saturday, my kids have a jiu-jitsu tournament, and then there, of course, there's the huge UFC fight on Saturday. Countdown to Paul versus Tyson documentary. I need to watch that. Okay. I have to go. I really have to take a shit. I'm like hurting. It's not good. Can't be good. Can't be good for the system. The first place winner got $5,000 for the affiliate video contest. Thank you to Two Brain. Crazy. $5,000. More than 200 videos we got. We have a lot of videos to show you guys.
Well, this is going to be interesting filming myself. My name is Jose. I'm 35 and I go to Vintage CrossFit. What this affiliate means to me, it has brought me out of my comfort zone, but also helped me find myself. Growing up, I was always overweight. After college, I almost hit 500 pounds. I had my weight loss surgery in April 2019, and I was able to lose over 250 pounds. Ever since I found CrossFit, it has shown me the skills that I've never thought I would do as an obese person. They love my story. They feel inspired. When people say that, it makes me feel good. I just don't want nobody to go through what I went through. I'll have to be that advocate for my family, be that role model that I want for my future kids. Thanks to fitness and CrossFit, I've been able to do that.
6 p.m. tonight, Pacific Standard Time. Marcus Capone, Navy SEAL, SEAL Team 6 operative for 12 years, takes a psychedelic journey. It's going to be a pretty amazing show tonight. I promise you, it won't be like any of the other shows he's been on. Talk to you guys soon. He has a new documentary coming out. It is called, I don't think you can see it yet unless you see it at a film festival. It's called In Waves in War. So Marcus Capone tonight, 6 o'clock. See you guys soon. I know I need to get Jimmy back on. I know. I love Jimmy. I love his Instagram. I need to get Jimmy back on. All right. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.